always assumed Ethan despised me too. Especially when he'd readily agreed to divorce so I could pursue Ryan. Not until my death did I learn he'd wept like a child at my grave after dismantling Ryan's empire. Ethan, my voice trembled. I'm sorry. His momentary surprise hardened into formality. Don't worry, Sophia. My business partnership with your father won't be affected by tonight's incident. He mistook my apology for financial anxiety. This isn't about. You're right. Our marriage is transactional. He withdrew his hand. Good night. The slam of the front door echoed through our mansion. I collapsed to the floor. Haunted by cruel words from our past life, I only married you for money. My heart belongs to someone else. Each syllable now tasted like poison on my tongue. The next morning, Emma's call startled me awake. Sophia. How was last night? My best friend's voice bubbled with curiosity. Huh? Don't play dumb. How's your husband, in bed? I froze. In my previous life, Emma had made this exact phone call. Back then, I'd been having breakfast with Ethan. In the quiet room, her voice had echoed so loudly I'd choked on my orange juice. Ethan had simply handed me a napkin without blinking, his signature composure that never wavered throughout our marriage. The only time I'd seen him crack was when I'd drunkenly clung to him, slurring Ryan's name. He'd pinned me against the wall, fingers digging into my hips, eyes blazing as he growled. Sophia. Look at me. Who am I? Emma's voice snapped me back. Well? Spill. I wouldn't know. Are you seriously telling me you haven't tapped that? Fine. But you're coming to my birthday bash tonight. No excuses. The memory hit me last time. I'd gotten wasted at this exact party the day after our wedding. Stumbling home at 3 a.m. to find Ethan sitting in the dark living room. Ashtray overflowing with cigarette butts. I'd ignored him then. But not this time. Emma? Maybe I should. Nope. 20 years of friendship trumps your 2-day marriage. Be there. I arrived determined to stay sober. The club throbbed with music as Emma's hired hunks swarmed our booth. Last life. I'd basked in their attention. Now I protested. I'm married. This feels wrong. Emma smirked. You said this marriage was temporary. Did something happen last night? Before I could answer, a chiseled guy slid beside me. Relax. Beautiful. It's just drinks. The blue strobe light caught Ethan's silhouette as he materialized at our booth. Suit jacket draped over his arm. His stormy gaze swept over the sea of shirtless men surrounding me. I shot up like a teenager caught necking. Ethan. Emma waved cheerfully. Join us. Ethan. We're celebrating. No. His voice could frost hell. I'm here to take my wife home. The male models who had just flirted with me shrank back. She's not. Emma began to reject them on my behalf. But I shot to my feet and staggered over to Ethan. His stormy expression softened slightly as he silently led me out of the bar. When we paused by his car, I mumbled. Ethan. I'm sorry. He stiffened. Unnecessary. He replied curtly, holding the car door open. My knees suddenly buckled, forehead pressing against his starched shirt. His hands instinctively steadied my waist without applying pressure. The warmth of his body radiated through the fabric. His cedarwood cologne enveloping me. Are you angry with me? No. The vibration of his deep voice resonated through his chest. Slightly hoarse. Liar. Ethan always clammed up when upset. Not that I cared, getting this second chance at life was miracle enough. As I moved to enter the car, a voice called. Sophia. My blood turned to ice. Slowly turning, I faced Ryan, my college sweetheart and the man who'd pushed me off a cliff in my previous life. My hands trembled violently. He looked heartbroken, though I distinctly remembered him skipping Emma's birthday in my past timeline. Why did you block my number? He demanded. My changed actions had altered the timeline. Even after breaking up. Doesn't our history mean anything? Panicked. I glanced at Ethan. His expression had frozen over again. Ryan pressed on. I know your family forced you to marry someone you don't love. You've always. Shut up. I snapped. You're lying to yourself. You'll never forget what we had. You love me. Not him. Bullshit. Do I look blind to you? He blinked in shock. My husband's taller. Smarter. Richer. Kinder. I took a dramatic breath. And better in bed. Dead silence followed. Clapping a hand over my mouth, I mentally cursed Emma's constant bedroom inquiries. Ethan's mask slipped briefly. Was that amusement? Before resuming his marble statue act, Ryan gaped. You'd actually say that to me? As fury boiled in my veins, Ethan stepped between us. His broad shoulders blocked Ryan completely. Why wouldn't she? His cultured voice dripped with disdain. Because you're the ex-boyfriend? The emphasis on Ryan's former title turned it into an insult. Ryan's face purpled with rage. As tensions were rising, Ethan opened the car door and I obediently climbed in. He shot Ryan a frosty glance before sliding into the driver's seat with silent authority that brooked no argument. Only when we'd driven several blocks did my nervous tension ease. The sudden question sliced through the quiet cabin. What were you afraid of back there? My breath caught. He'd noticed my moment of panic. Nothing, maybe just the chill. I lied poorly. Instead of challenging my flimsy excuse, Ethan wordlessly tossed his tailored suit jacket onto my lap. The faint scent of sandalwood and cigars enveloped me as I murmured thanks to his unresponsive profile. Lulled by the warmth, I drifted into uneasy sleep. Memory flickered back when strong arms lowered me onto a bed. Through heavy eyelids, I watched Ethan tuck blankets around me and set water on the nightstand. As he turned to leave, my fingers caught his sleeve. Ethan. Those slate-gray eyes met mine. Marrying you makes me happy. What happened next remains unclear, though I hazily recall him standing vigil by my bed for hours. In my previous life, when my broken body lay unrecognizable at the mountain's base, even my parents couldn't bear to look. Yet Ethan had stood motionless before my corpse, studying what others found repulsive. I'd assumed he took vicious pleasure in my demise. This woman who'd walked away from him. Only after death did I learn the truth. While the world dismissed my fall as accident, Ethan spent years unraveling the conspiracy, ultimately sending Ryan to execution. Floating as a spirit, I witnessed his relentless pursuit of justice and found myself falling for the man I'd never truly known. When I told Ryan I'm not blind, the bitter irony choked me. My first life had been one of willful blindness, missing every truth that mattered. This second chance tempts me to confess everything to Ethan. But how to explain loving someone whose feelings developed invisibly? My recent harsh words hang between us like shattered glass. Sudden affection now would ring false. Thus our newlywed days pass in polite detachment. Beyond that bar pickup night, Ethan maintains careful distance. His business trip leaves me rattling around our cavernous penthouse alone. Mother's call comes predictably. Come home. There's much you need to learn about being a proper wife. I mumble excuses, dreading the inevitable performance. My entire existence had been their marionette show, the demure daughter, the compliant bride. Their concern never extended beyond surface appearances, until Emily's honeyed voice purrs through the receiver. Come home. Sister. I've missed you so. Mother chimes in, don't be selfish. Your sister needs you. Ice crystallizes in my veins. Their golden child always needs something. In my first life, Emily played the compassionate sister, sneaking comforts after parental punishments. Whispering poisonous doubts. Are you truly content marrying without love? What sweet lies those were. While I played the stoic bride, she'd been Ryan's eager mistress. Her concern carefully eroded my marriage until I fled into my killer's arms. Now reborn, I see through every calculated gesture. Let them scheme. This time, I'll dance to my own rhythm and claim what's mine. When I lacked the courage to divorce, Emily encouraged me. Sis. Even if the whole world turns against you, I'll stand by your side. I considered her my only family, even feeling blessed to have such a sister, as if I'd accumulated good karma from past lives. That was until my spirit returned home after death and I found her diary. She'd written, today I messed with Sophia again. She's so gullible, falling for the simplest tricks. Mom and Dad punished her by withholding dinner, so satisfying. I wonder when she'll finally get the hell out of this house. Ethan actually proposed an arranged marriage with her. Why? Why? What does she have that I don't? That bitch, I'll make her pay and win Ethan back. Sophia remains as stupid as ever. Ryan barely had to sweet-talk her before she dared divorce him and elope. She never realized he's a gambling addict. Or that all those chance encounters were my doing. Ha! My spectral form trembled reading each venomous line. Phantom blood boiling yet freezing simultaneously. I screamed my rage into the void. Unheard by the living. Now. The architect of my past life tragedy stood before me. Feigning innocence as she cooed. I missed you. I smiled. Good. I'll return tomorrow. Arriving at the Clark family mansion. I'd swapped my usual demure style for bold crimson lipstick and a tailored pantsuit. The collective gasp upon my entrance was priceless. Emily recovered first. Sis. Marriage changed your style? Honestly. It's not as, her trailing gaze performed theatrical pity. Previously. I'd mistake this for tactful concern. Now. I laughed. Ethan prefers me this way. Her mask cracked, bullseye. How had I never noticed her obsession with Ethan? Mom intervened hastily. Sophia. The Miller family's social standing demands more discretion than ours? Was I truly careless here? I tossed my coat to a maid. Settling onto the forbidden living room sofa. Funny, last time I sat before you. I got slapped. Was that carelessness? Dad stormed in. Slamming his study door. You dare disrespect us? Marriage erased your decency? Which part was incorrect? Your tone. You think Ethan shields you now? Hardly. But since your self-proclaimed royalty demanding universal obedience. The ashtray shattered at my feet. Mom and Emily shrieked. I stared him down until he faltered. You're just a pawn in the Clark-Miller alliance. Stop deluding yourself. Truths only my corpse-earned perspective revealed. How noble, selling your daughter. As I turned to leave. Emily intercepted. Dad didn't mean. Save it. You'd love being this pawn. Wouldn't you? Her composure slipped. That's not. Don't worry. I patted her cheek. Dad would never sacrifice his precious daughter. This burden stays mine. Her face purpled. Are you implying? Divorce? Why bother? Dad hurled my coat outdoors. Keep this attitude and never return. The slammed door echoed my dead heart's applause. Mom added fuel to the fire. How dare you treat your parents like this? We've wasted our efforts raising you. Emily's expression softened with barely concealed schadenfreude. You should apologize to Mom and Dad. Sophia. My parents stared down at me with undisguised disgust. The discarded coat on the floor might as well have been my childhood self, perpetually unwanted. I clenched my fists as tension crackled through the room. The atmosphere shattered when Ethan strolled in. He picked up the coat with deliberate calm, brushing off invisible dust. Mr. Clark. He drawled, glancing at my father. Surely you're not taking out your temper on a piece of fabric? Dad blanched. Mr. Miller. When did you arrive? Recently. Those steel, gray eyes shifted to me. Came to take Sophia home. Though it seems I've interrupted something? No. No conflict here. Dad rushed to explain. Our daughter's just being temperamental like she was spoiled as a child. Yet she's Mrs. Miller now. Ethan's voice turned glacial as he stepped between us. Any discipline required falls under my purview. The unspoken threat hung heavier than his designer suit. Emily's perfect mask slipped, revealing venomous resentment. Dad bowed his head like a chastened child. Of course. Mr. Miller. Ethan didn't wait for platitudes. His grip on my elbow felt like salvation until I noticed his whitened knuckles on the steering wheel. My pulse raced. Was that anger for me? Then reality crashed in. Of course he'd be furious. My family's disrespect was a direct insult to the Millers. Has it always been like this? His question startled me hours later as sunset painted the city crimson. I traced the car window's condensation. You get used to it. Something in his posture shifted almost imperceptibly. I wrapped up the business trip early when I heard you'd come here. Thank you, I murmured. He didn't acknowledge it. But as streetlights began flickering on, he broke the silence again. Sophia. Golden light slid across his sharp features when he turned. I'm sorry I wasn't there sooner. The rasp in his voice synchronized with my suddenly erratic heartbeat. I tried dismissing the incident, but Ethan's actions spoke louder. Later that week, I overheard him instructing staff to alert him immediately if I ever visited my family again. His concern, whether for me or Miller family reputation, left me unsettled. Will you accompany me to the Sinclair Gala next week? He asked casually during dinner, twirling his wine glass. Memories flooded back, our previous Cold War during this same event. My childish refusal to acknowledge him. Now I understood these galas weren't just parties, but battlegrounds for social capital. When the night arrived, our coordinated designer outfits drew admiring glances. Ethan's hand lingered at my waist longer than necessary as cameras flashed. Relax, he murmured, breath warm against my ear. They're all watching how thoroughly you belong here. The possessive edge in his voice sparked unexpected warmth. For the first time, I leaned into the charade, not as Clark family's unwanted daughter, but as Sophia Miller. His fingers tightened fractionally in approval. Most attendees looked familiar, many clearly hoping to curry favor with the Miller family for career advancement. Ethan only stood by my side briefly before being pulled away by business associates. I waited quietly by the corner buffet table. Sophia, you came too? Emily's voice chimed behind me. She immediately looped her arm through mine, smiling like we were inseparable sisters. Just between us, Mom and Dad brought me here to scout marriage prospects. I raised an eyebrow. I thought you already had someone in mind. She blushed. Don't be ridiculous. Her phone buzzed. After reading the message, she brightened. The youngest Taylor's son invited me to a private lounge upstairs. Come with me? Her innocent act barely concealed her scheming. The same script as my previous life unfolded. After a pause, I smiled. Sure. There was no Taylor heir waiting upstairs, only Ryan, whom I hadn't seen in days. Last time, I'd fallen for this trap, sobbing in Ryan's arms about the Miller family's overwhelming power and even resenting Ethan. Unbeknownst to me, hidden cameras captured everything, leaking to tabloids. Ethan had quietly erased the scandal, never mentioning it even as I died clueless, until I read Emily's journal posthumously. Now history repeated. Ryan gazed at me earnestly. Sophia, I know you were putting on an act for Ethan that day. The Millers control the Clarks, you've had no freedom. If they hadn't demanded marriage, we'd still be together. I'm moving to America. Come with me. We'll start fresh where nobody knows us. He reached for my hand. I jerked away. You're mistaken. Every word I said was genuine. I'm married now. Your attempt to break up a marriage is morally bankrupt. My second rejection gave him pause, but he quickly resumed the act. You're just pushing me away to protect me, right? I massaged my temples. What had I ever seen in this manipulative fool? Before I could finish, he lunged for a hug. I don't believe you. You promised we'd be forever. The door clicked shut, Emily had vanished. Cameras were likely already snapping photos of this embrace for the tabloids. Shoving him off, I gripped the voice recorder in my pocket. With this evidence, I had to control the narrative before Ethan misunderstood. Flashbulbs exploded as I opened the door. Ms. Clark. What were you doing in there? Who else was present? Our sources say you were meeting a lover. How does this reflect on your new marriage? My head spun. This time, Emily had tipped off reporters directly. Even with audio proof, being alone with an ex would fuel endless gossip. A commotion erupted behind the media scrum. Cameras swiveled. Mr. Miller, what's your response to your wife's actions? Is your marriage in trouble? Will you file for divorce? How will assets? Ethan stood motionless, ignoring the questions. His gaze locked on me. My chest tightened inexplicably. After a beat, he strode forward through the chaos and took my hand. He shielded me from the swarm of paparazzi and quickly led me outside. Someone called out, "Ethan Miller." Emily blocked our path. My sister has always only had eyes for her ex. Even after marriage, they still end up in each other's arms whenever they meet. Why don't you let her go? Grant these star-crossed lovers their happy ending through divorce? I opened my mouth to protest. But Ethan spoke first. You witnessed what happened inside? She faltered. I was right here. So. Perfect. Ethan's voice turned glacial. His entire demeanor radiating frost. Prepare to testify in court. Emily blanched. What? My wife, he enunciated with lethal precision, was sexually harassed in there. The color drained from Emily's face. Wait. I only came upstairs with my sister earlier. Whatever happened inside? I didn't see. Her contradictory statements exposed the lie. Ethan ignored her, guiding me to the underground parking garage while making multiple calls. When he finally hung up, I clutched the voice recorder. I know you were set up. Weariness edged his tone. My legal team and PR contacts are handling this. We'll clear your name. The words caught in my throat. After a shaky breath, I whispered, Ethan, why do you trust me so completely? Silence stretched between us. When he finally spoke, his voice roughened. Because you're my wife. My pulse thundered so violently I felt it in my fingertips, pressing a hand to my racing heart. I waited for composure before offering the recorder. I documented everything. Surprise flickered across his features. I smiled. Your wife isn't as helpless as you think. That night after showering, Ethan texted asking to discuss litigation strategies in his study. I grabbed a bottle from the wine cellar and descended in silk lingerie. The dim study revealed Ethan in rumpled dress shirt and gold-rimmed glasses. Documents spread across the desk. He glanced up when I entered, eyes briefly widening at my attire before resuming professional detachment. Drink? I reached for glasses. Focus. He slid documents toward me. Evidence shows Emily leaked details to media, including Ryan's appearance, as he outlined legal strategies against them. I drained multiple glasses of the deceptively strong bourbon. His words began blurring as I fixated on his mouth, those perfectly sculpted lips begging to be tasted. Ethan. My finger grazed his lower lip. He froze, composure cracking. I'm tipsy, I confessed, leaning closer. When I drink, I crave kissing. His jaw tightened. Did you want to kiss strangers at bars too? Married now. I slurred, shaking my head vehemently. Must stay faithful. My clumsy earnestness drew an unexpected chuckle from him. Meeting his gaze, I closed the distance between us. Don't I deserve a reward? The next second, he pulled me into a fierce embrace. Sophia. Who am I? Ethan, who is Ethan to you? My husband. His scorching kiss descended before I could finish. I'd been trapped in a long dream. In that dream, I relived those days abroad with Ryan after our divorce. We were happy at first. Even after defying all odds to divorce. Even after cutting ties with our families. I never regretted eloping with him. Until that evening when he invited me to watch the sunset on the mountain. The fiery clouds that day were breathtaking. Swirling oranges and purples painting the sky. As daylight faded and night crept in, he gently wrapped his arms around me. I buried my face in his chest, savoring our sweet moment. Then he whispered I'm sorry against my ear and shoved me off the cliff. I jolted awake, dawn barely tinting the windows. A warm hand patted my chest as a sleep-roughened voice murmured, Nightmare? It took me a moment to remember. Those fragments belonged to my past life. Rolling over, I pressed closer to Ethan's warmth. His body heat grounded me. Tangible proof of our intimacy. Ethan. What I said on our wedding night wasn't true. I'm sorry. You've already apologized. His fingers combed through my hair. Voice still husky with sleep. Maybe try a different approach. Huh? I looked up, drowning in those darkened eyes. Actions speak louder. Haven't we already? The usually composed Ethan looked at me with undisguised hunger, effortlessly pulling me back into his arms. Then let's reinterpret it. He'd left for the office when I woke next morning. His brief replies to my texts confirmed he was swamped. My unease grew. Soon enough, rumors about our marital discord began trending. Though a businessman, Ethan's striking looks and business acumen made him more followed than A-list celebrities. Within hours, every major outlet ran headlines like CEO's wife caught with ex in hotel sting. The comments section boiled over. Word is Mrs. Miller got caught with her ex at a hotel while Ethan watched. Second-hand embarrassment. Rich people are wild. Why cheat on a god-tier husband? Someone take out the trash. Ethan had contained the story. How did it leak? My phone blew up with calls from reporters and concerned Emma. Mid-explanation, Mr. Miller summoned me to the family estate. We'd rarely interacted since Ethan and I moved out. The patriarch's disapproval hit like a gavel. Sophia. Ethan fought for this marriage against all advice. I accepted you despite your family's situation. Now you've jeopardized his leadership during this critical transition. Competitors are weaponizing these rumors to undermine him. Mr. Miller slammed his hand on the table repeatedly in frustration. I finally realized suppressing this incident wasn't as simple as I'd naively assumed. What shocked me more was discovering our marriage wasn't merely a business alliance, but something he'd actively pursued from his father. Reborn with foreknowledge, I'd arrogantly believed I could manipulate events and outmaneuver those plotting against me. How foolish I'd been, forgetting the wisdom that warns against lingering near crumbling walls. Risking myself had been the height of stupidity. Dad. This was a setup. Sophia and I have gathered all the evidence. We're filing the lawsuit tomorrow. No need to wait. Ethan's voice came from behind us. He looked weary from the day's efforts. Yet his arm around my waist steadied me with unshakable resolve. My legal team's already handling it. Meeting his father's gaze, I vowed, I'll work closely with Ethan on damage control and public clarification. From now on, we'll face every challenge together. Ethan squeezed my shoulder. Sophia's the victim here. Transparency will resolve this crisis. The elder Miller studied us before sighing heavily. The company is yours now. My anger stemmed from fearing those tabloid rumors held truth. But seeing you two united, his stern features softened. This harmony between husband and wife is all I needed. During the drive home, fragmented memories from my previous life resurfaced. Ghostly visions of Ethan kneeling before his father, defying logic to investigate my accidental death. Even after our divorce, he'd remembered my fear of heights that no one else noticed, not even my parents. As if sensing my thoughts, Ethan's brow furrowed. I smoothed the crease with my thumb. Stop frowning. You'll get wrinkles. What if I stay young while you turn into a grandpa? His lips quirked. Then I'll parade you everywhere, bragging about my beautiful wife until everyone thinks I'm some silver fox sugar daddy. The tension dissolved into shared laughter. When it faded, he grew serious. Our PR team issued the statement. Winning the case will clear everything. I'm sorry my miscalculations dragged you into this online chaos. Apology accepted. I teased. But you could make it up by creating a social media account. Your fanbase would amplify our message better than corporate channels. Ethan immediately pulled over, typing rapidly. Within minutes, his newly verified account exploded with notifications, countless users flooding his DMs with husband calls. I pretended to study passing scenery as he smirked and typed something. What did you post? I asked later. Check tonight, he murmured, his lips already claiming mine the moment we entered our penthouse. By the time we collapsed breathless onto silk sheets, digital dramas felt worlds away. Morning light revealed his solitary post trending nationwide, married. Stop calling me husband. Attached was our wedding photo. My laughing face pressed against his shoulder as he glared at the camera with possessive intensity. Couple goals. Stop the rumors. The attached photo showed our intertwined fingers, likely taken by Ethan while I was asleep. The comments under this tweet were a far cry from the daytime chaos, The company's official statement explains everything. Spectators can move along. Ethan registered a Twitter account overnight just to clear his wife's name. Did anyone notice his tweets were edited multiple times to fix punctuation? Dude's meticulous down to the last hair for his wife. He's so in love. I'm literally crying. Bathed in sunlight. I finally smiled at these supportive messages. Emily's collusion with Ryan to frame me could be dismissed as a jealous younger sister scheming to steal her sibling's husband. But on a larger scale, she'd tarnished the Miller family's reputation and caused financial losses. When Ethan pressed charges against both for defamation and privacy violations, leading to Emily's arrest, our parents panicked. They rushed over, begging me to drop the case. Sophia, Emily's always been spoiled. I cut them off coldly. Funny. Dad. Last week you claimed I was the spoiled one. His face paled. That was anger talking. We're family, no grudges. You've always been close with Emily. Forgive her this once. Did you know she keeps diaries? I stared them down. Check the bottom shelf of her bookcase. Leather-bound notebooks. See how she's treated me all these years. If you still think she's innocent afterward. Fine. They left. And I gambled, betting on their residual affection. That they'd feel some pity after witnessing Emily's twisted psyche. It worked. They never returned. Even as I confronted Emily at the police station. Haggard and defeated during interrogation. She perked up seeing me. Sis. I thought you still had feelings for Ryan. I just wanted Ethan to divorce you. Please withdraw the charges. Wrong. I hissed. You scheduled private meetings with Ryan and tipped off paparazzi to ruin my reputation, not facilitate a divorce. She sobbed theatrically. I can't go to jail. My life. Your diaries. I leaned closer. Mom and Dad read them. They know you're rotten to the core. Prison or not. You've lost them forever. Liar. She lunged. Restrained by officers. They'd never abandon me. Outside. Spring breeze washed over me. In this life. Emily's schemes backfired. Our parents, pragmatic businesspeople, would choose their socially advantageous daughter over a felon dragging down the Clark name. One last betrayer remained. Ryan had pinned everything on Emily. Insufficient evidence freed him. But Ethan's lawyers were circling. We'll nail him for harassment. I stayed silent. Harassment charges? Insufficient. He'd pay in blood. Secretly, I began tracking Ryan's movements. Upon learning he had flown to a casino overseas, an idea suddenly struck me. I told Ethan I needed a getaway abroad and, fearing detection, took multiple connecting flights before finally landing at the casino city. I hired a private investigator to track Ryan's recent movements. After pinpointing his regular casino haunt, I leveraged the investigator's connections to recruit professional actors. Their mission was simple: sit across from Ryan daily and escalate the betting stakes. If he'd killed me over gambling debts in our past life, addiction undoubtedly controlled him now. True to form, within days Ryan burned through his funds and accumulated staggering debts. As he prepared to slink away in defeat, I appeared before him in crimson silk. Fancy meeting you here. I smiled over coffee invitations. After that incident, Ethan and I grew distant. Our marriage exists in name only now. This trip was supposed to clear my head. Yet here you are, perhaps fate intervenes? My carefully orchestrated chance encounter melted Ryan's defenses. Little did he know my nightly phone calls with Ethan overflowed with affection even as I lamented our loveless union. When I suggested extending his stay, he hesitated. I'm practically tapped out. Money issues? I tilted my head. All reassurance. Don't fret. I've got plenty. Let me cover your expenses. The mention of wealth lit predatory hunger in his eyes. I couldn't possibly. After all we've shared? I countered gently. You think I'd begrudge helping someone I care about? His poorly concealed grin betrayed the calculations. Here stood his golden goose. True to my word. Each gambling loss earned instant reimbursement through me. Funds cycling back via actors to my accounts. Ryan clung to the delusion that next hand would recoup everything. Blind to the rigged game. Gamblers earn their title through insatiable hunger. Last life. I died from misjudging this addict. Now I watched Ryan hemorrhage cash like sand through fingers. A death row inmate counting unknowing hours. When he next requested funds, I feigned banking limits. Take a casino loan first. I'll settle it after my transfer restrictions lift. Doubt flickered. If I default? The loan sharks. I'm not going anywhere. I soothed. Have I ever abandoned you? Addiction overrode caution. He borrowed heavily. And I repaid promptly, the first of many withdrawals. Between casino glitter and bottomless drinks. Weeks evaporated. Ethan's repeated pleas for my return met gentle postponements. What are you waiting for? He finally pressed. Trust me. I murmured. I'll come home safely when this ends. Silence stretched before his reluctant, I'll wait. Ryan's debts ballooned with each passing day. Secure in belief I'd bail him out indefinitely. Fools forget destiny collects all debts with interest. After settling his final loan, I boarded a flight home and severed all contact. My actors ensured whispers of Ryan's trust fund pedigree reached loan sharks' ears. When collectors discover his empty pockets, they'll bleed him dry before shipping what's left to Southeast Asia. Either way, justice arrives. As my plane touched down, the investigator's message blinked, asset liquidation complete. Clark family holdings secured. Unable to repay his gambling debts and unable to reach me. Ryan attempted to flee back to China but was captured by loan sharking gangsters who imprisoned him. The detective later stated he'd likely be trafficked to Southeast Asia eventually. Anyone who's seen the news knows what kind of living hell that entails. A bitter smile tugged at my lips. Satisfaction coursing through my veins. I'll never know what twisted satisfaction Ryan felt when he pushed me off that cliff in our previous life. All I remember is drowning in despair during that endless fall. This second chance allowed me to exact revenge on those who wronged me while resolving lingering regrets from the past. At the airport entrance, I spotted Ethan from afar, dressed in a tailored suit. He looked like he'd rushed here straight from a board meeting. I never disclosed my flight details. But Ethan always finds answers when he wants them. He'd probably uncovered all the secrets I'd tried keeping these past months anyway. Rooted to the spot, I hesitated until Ethan closed the distance in purposeful strides, enveloping me in a warm embrace. Welcome home. My body stiffened slightly. Aren't you going to ask where I've been? He shook his head. What if I did something terrible? Had our positions been reversed? Ethan interrupted. My methods might have been far worse. His steady gaze held mine. You simply did what needed doing. My support is unconditional. Resting my chin on his shoulder, I finally returned the embrace as hot tears overflowed. The terminal's heated air swirled around us, carrying with it the strange sensation of healing old wounds across lifetimes. Karma delivered justice. My soul found its anchor. This was enough. My dad cheated on my mom with Lily. When I told my mom, she slapped me to the ground. You shameless hussy seducing men and slandering others. Why did I give birth to trash like you? Later, Lily pushed me down the stairs. I begged for help as blood pooled around me. But they watched me bleed out. Reborn. I'll make them pay. Blinking awake at the dining table, Nancy sneered nearby, lazy thing just waiting to be fed. My Lily would have cooked 5 courses by now. Her eyes raked over my crop top. Disgraceful girls showing skin. I'd break Lily's legs if she dressed like some floozy. She suddenly shrieked at the floor, hair everywhere like a mangy mutt. And these muddy footprints, disgusting. Her shrill voice confirmed this wasn't a dream. I smirked. Some people forget their place when tolerated too long. Last life. I excused her behavior for Mom's sake. But no more. Standing over her, I snapped, keep yapping and get out. Nancy froze. Then collapsed wailing, Laura. Kevin. See how Gina treats me after 5 years serving your family. I'll take Lily and leave. Laura stormed downstairs, jabbing her finger at me. Gina Cooper. Apologized to Nancy now. Seeing her furious face, decades-old bitterness surged. My own mother always chose outsiders. She'd watched me die, Why? My voice cracked. Am I even your daughter? Laura faltered at my raw hatred. Nancy seized the moment. Fake crying, she called me trash. Poor Lily works so hard. But Gina's jealous. Enough. Laura glared. Apologize or get out. Fine. I hurled scalding soup at Nancy. Aya. She screamed. Laura gasped, Gina. You're crazy. Crazy? I laughed coldly. You haven't seen crazy yet. Are you crazy? I'm the one who's lost it. I kept smashing plates left and right. Food splattering everywhere. Nancy and Laura cowered in the corner. Eyes wide with fear. I lunged at them. You want an apology? Here's your apology. Loud enough for you. Huh? Loud enough? Another plate shattered at their feet with a crash. Well? Nancy scrambled backward. Stammering. Loud enough. I exhaled sharply. Good. That'll be my apology standard from now on. As I headed upstairs, Laura finally snapped out of it. Gina. You think you've grown wings? How dare you threaten me? She tried chasing after me. But Nancy grabbed her arm. Mrs. White. Don't. What if she snaps again? Their curses followed me until I slammed my bedroom door. Sliding down against the wood. I hugged my knees as silent tears fell. Hours later, I wiped my face and whispered. If you've abandoned me, then I'll abandon you too. Cold resolve hardened in my chest. This time, you'll all pay. My outburst worked wonders. Nancy became painfully obedient, fetching water, slicing fruit, jumping at my every command. See? Nobody bullies the ruthless. All that good karma crap? Total bullshit. That evening, Kevin returned from his business trip with Lily in tow, claiming they'd coincidentally met. Laura didn't bat an eye, cheerfully pulling Lily to wash up for dinner. The perfect angel, sweet-faced, gentle-mannered, straight a student, she'd been their golden child since moving in a year ago, reducing me to the family disappointment. Kevin wasted no time. Lily's preparing for grad school. Gina. Your room gets better light. You'll swap with her. Here we go. Last life. I'd surrendered my space. Then my car. Then my piano. A nanny's daughter steadily usurping my place. Give her your car too. You barely drive it. And she needs transportation. My Star River piano? Lily's taking music lessons. She's got real talent, every sentence dripped with Lily this. Lily that. Last time I'd thought it mere favoritism. Never imagined my father was screwing a girl younger than me. Disgusting. I cut through his drivel. Dad. Mom. That room? We decorated it together when I was 5, every curtain tassel. Every piece of furniture chosen as a family. My voice cracked. The car? My high school acceptance gift. The piano? My 18th birthday present, you said I'd always be your princess. Laura's face darkened. Gina. How dare you guilt trip us? Lily needs, I'll buy new ones. Kevin interjected. Lily deserves better than hand-me-downs. Lily demurred. Uncle Kevin. Aunt Laura. Really, my dorm room's fine. I'll save for my own car and piano. She bit her lip. Besides, you know I prefer new things. New? I snorted. I'm not the one who's used goods. Kevin slammed the table. You'll vacate that room tonight. Laura shoved a moving box at me. Stop being selfish. Out by morning. As they fawned over Lily's fake humility, I clenched the box edges. This time. Little homewrecker. I'll watch you choke on your new things. Mom. Does my not acting crazy for a few days make you think I'm normal now? I slammed my hands on the table and stormed into the kitchen, emerging with a kitchen knife that I embedded into the wooden surface with a loud thud. The entire family recoiled in horror. Narrowing my eyes, I hissed. Want my room? Fine. Let me chop a few times first. If I survive, you can have it. Laura regained her composure and shouted. Gina. Stop this ridiculous act. Go ahead and swing that knife if you dare. With a metallic screech, I yanked the blade free and started hacking wildly at the dining table before flipping it over with a crash. My room? You want my room? I advanced toward the cowering group, brandishing the knife. Lily shrieked and hid behind Kevin and Laura. Nancy tried to intervene, but I kicked her aside and dragged Lily forward by her hair, pressing the blade against her throat. Still want it? Huh? Through terrified sobs, Lily stammered. And no. I never wanted your room. Uncle Kevin. Aunt Laura. Tell her. Keep your damn room. Laura finally relented. After my explosive display, the house fell into uneasy silence. Lily stopped her covert taunts and started leaving before dawn each morning, as if fleeing ghosts. Kevin began spending nights working late or traveling for business, secretly buying Lily an apartment near campus. Last life. I'd pitied Laura's lonely nights. Now, watching her clutch her phone complaining about Kevin's absence filled me with vicious satisfaction. Work. Always work. Laura snapped during another phone argument. Do we even exist to you? Nancy chimed in while polishing silverware. Now Mrs. Cooper. Ambitious men make the best providers. All that overtime just means more love for you. I snorted from the couch, scrolling local news. Men who never come home either gamble or have affairs. Which do you think Dad is? Nancy's polishing rag froze. Mr. Cooper would never. Rich middle-aged guy like him? I cut her off. Bet there are college girls lining up. Better watch him close. Mom. The next morning, reporters swarmed Lily on campus. Miss Smith. We're from the Gazette doing a feature on campus beauties. Your cat rescue photos went viral. Lily preened under the attention. Me? Really? As they led her away for interviews. I smirked. Don't let my money go to waste. Bitch. During lunch break, Lily strutted into my empty dorm. Poor little Cooper heiress. The Gazette's making me prom queen now. She circled me like a vulture. Took your parents. Took dance team captain. Took your crown. What's left? When she leaned in to whisper, I'll take everything. I grabbed her wrist. Keep testing me. Scholarship kid. How fast would your fan club disappear if they knew you're a housekeeper's daughter? Her face drained of color. Why you wouldn't? Your parents. Try me. I shoved past her trembling form. By week's end, Lily's face plastered every tabloid as the saintly campus beauty. The exact same headlines that once crowned me. Let her enjoy the spotlight right before the fall. My parents were beaming with pride, bragging everywhere as if Lily were their biological daughter. Even the housekeeper Nancy started acting cocky around me. I secretly gloated. Keep hyping her up, the higher she's lifted, the harder she'll fall. For 8 days, I surveilled Lily's neighborhood. Every Friday night, cleaning services arrived at her condo. That Friday, I scattered pebbles near the entrance. The cleaner girl rushed over, slipped on the stones, and fell hard. Oh my gosh. Are you okay? I helped her up, feigning concern. Your knee's bleeding. Can you stand? I think I sprained my ankle. She winced. But I still have to clean. Let me handle it. I offered, thumping my chest. I clean my own house daily. Keep your payment, just walk me through the checklist. Under her grateful gaze, I called her a cab to urgent care. Donning her uniform and mask, I strolled straight into Kevin's love nest for Lily. I planted hidden cameras in every corner before heading to the master bedroom, poking holes through every condom. Almost leaving, I remembered my cleaning commitment. I scrubbed toilets with their toothbrushes, wiped their cups with the toilet rag, and stomped across their bedspread with my shoes. Next afternoon, I took Karen shopping near campus. Checking my watch, I suggested, Aunt Karen, let's grab coffee at that trendy spot by the window. We'd barely settled when I pointed dramatically, isn't that Dad? He's supposed to be on a business trip. Lily clung to Kevin's arm nearby, though her face was turned. Karen followed my gaze and suddenly stood. Oh. I just remembered, an appointment, she scrambled away, wrapping a scarf over her distinctive hair. I sipped my latte, Smiling. Returning home, I met a lecherous stare. A man lounged in our living room, eyeing me like meat. You must be Gina. I'm Adam, Lily's brother. Adam. My rapist from the past life. You're stunning. He purred. All fake charm. Then shut your filthy mouth. I snapped. This pretty-faced predator had ruined countless girls. His nice guy act fooling everyone. Last lifetime. Even Laura called me a slut when I reported him. Lily publicly shamed me until I lost my teaching job. The cyberbullying broke me. Depression made me weep constantly. Laura would scream, "You disgrace. How dare you cry after seducing men? I wish you'd die." Her slaps rained as I fantasized about ending it all. But Lily killed me first. This time, I'll strike sooner. At dinner, Adam pulled out my chair. I ignored him. Sitting elsewhere. Undeterred. He settled across from me. Hunger undisguised in his gaze. Gina Cooper. Come try this. It's delicious. Gina? Fucking disgusting. I shot him a death glare. If you don't want dinner, go eat shit in the toilet. Adam's smile froze. Ha ha ha. Gina. You're really something. He winked at me while brushing his foot against mine under the table. My face darkened as I kicked back hard, making him stumble. When others looked over, he rubbed his neck awkwardly. Lost my balance. No big deal. Your balance is fine. I'm not. I strode over and kicked his chair, sending him crashing to the floor. Before he could rise, I stomped on his abdomen. Gina? Gina my ass. Call me that again and I'll send you to meet your ancestors. God damn it. The dinner party watched in stunned silence. Already familiar with my outbursts, Nancy rushed from the kitchen, still holding a serving dish. Miss Cooper. Please stop. Enough. It took Nancy physically restraining me to end the beating after a dozen more kicks. Adam fled without finishing his meal. But I knew better than to think he'd stay gone. That night, I crept downstairs and caught Nancy and Adam whispering. My phone's recording app glowed faintly. Mom? I want Gina. You idiot. Weren't the last 3 enough? That girl's gone batshit crazy lately. Used to be easy prey. Now she's a rabid animal. Come on. Ma. She's hot. Just let me have a taste or I'll never give you grandkids. Besides, the feisty ones are more fun to break. Play with her if you must. But never marry that violent, gluttonous bitch. Their plotting continued until I'd captured enough evidence. Grandchildren? I'll end your bloodline this time. Next morning, Laura grabbed her purse in fury. Where to? Mom? To catch that cheating bastard. Karen saw your father buying some slut an apartment. I joined Laura's storming of Lily's condo. Her fists hammered the door. Kevin. Open up or I'll break it down. My father appeared fully dressed minutes later. Laura lunged with nails bared. You cheating son of a bitch. Calm down. What affair? Kevin struggled to restrain her. Laura shoved past him into the bedroom. Seeing Lily, she trembled with rage. You, with this home-wrecking whore? She's young enough to be your daughter. Lily paled. Mrs. White. It's not. A slap interrupted her. Kevin intervened. She's studying for grad school. Gina refused to share her room. So I got Lily her own place. I was bringing breakfast before work. You call this business trip? I knew you'd overreact. The familiar lies flowed effortlessly. I smiled, knowing the real storm was yet to come. My mom gradually relaxed, still scanning the room thoroughly before finally settling down. I noticed only Lily's toiletries in the bathroom and her clothes filling the closet. They'd covered their tracks well last time I visited. Everything had been paired. Nancy must have tipped them off. Kevin shrugged. See? When have I ever lied to you? All right. I believe you. I misunderstood. My apologies. Lily. Lily stepped forward. Laura. This is my fault. Kevin adores you. He was just asking me what anniversary gift you'd prefer. If I ever find a husband half as devoted, I'll die happy. Laura beamed. Oh, that man. We're practically fossils, yet he still plays at young romance, after some final reminders. She led me away. Before the door closed, I saw Kevin tilt his chin at Lily as if saying, "Told you it'd work." I followed my mother out, smirking. "Keep acting. This'll be your final performance." Days later, housekeeper Nancy called asking me to fetch some items. Last lifetime. This trick lured me into Adam's assault. My fingers brushed the stun gun bought days earlier as I texted 911 before cheerfully agreeing. "Miss Cooper, there's too much to carry alone. Please help me upstairs," Nancy pleaded when I arrived. I wrinkled my nose. "That filthy rat hole? Bring them down. Please. These old bones can't manage." With theatrical reluctance, I followed. The door clicked shut behind us. Adam's greasy form cornered me against the wall, inhaling deeply. "Gina, you smell divine." I trembled. What are you doing?" "Don't fight it, baby." As he lunged, I screamed help, and kneed his groin with full force. While he writhed, I stomped his crotch repeatedly, grabbing my ankle. He yelped when my stun gun struck, alternating between kicks and electric jabs. I kept screaming until cops burst in. They pulled the hysterical victim off Adam's twitching body. A female officer cradling me. "You're safe now," she soothed through my Oscar-worthy sobs. Hospital tests confirmed Adam's sterilization. Nancy's theatrical wails echoed through corridors when she heard. I loomed over her crumpled form. "Expect lawsuit papers soon. See you in court." For the next week, Nancy waited on me hand and foot, terrified to breathe without permission. Her nightly tearful confessions at Laura's feet almost worked until I refused to drop charges. Laura pleaded. "Adam made a mistake. But you're unharmed. Withdraw the lawsuit." "Would you say that if Lily got attacked?" "You're no Lily. This wouldn't happen if you dressed decently. Think of Lily's reputation and poor Nancy's age." I laughed bitterly. "Mother of the Year, aren't you? Quick to comfort everyone except your actual daughter." Her fleeting guilt hardened to command, "Drop the case." "Never." "Why are you so stubborn? Can't you be gentler and kinder? Look at Lily. Why can't you learn from her? How did I give birth to such a monster?" I sneered. "Learn from her? Learn what? How to seduce married men. What nonsense are you spouting?" I finally snapped, swiftly pulling out my USB drive and laptop. The surveillance footage flashed on screen, two pale bodies entangled, accompanied by unmistakable moans. The HD camera captured every detail, clearly showing Kevin and Lily. "Mom, take a good look. The precious Lily you've been defending has been sleeping with your husband behind your back." I added coldly. "If I recall correctly, this is the same hotel suite we stayed in last month." Laura trembled as she stared at the screen, her lips quivering soundlessly before rasping. "Those disgusting animals." Her phone rang, Nancy calling. Probably checking if we'd dropped the lawsuit. Before the caller could speak, Laura exploded. "You shriveled old hag. May your sons be born without assholes. Your whole rotten family belongs in prison. And that daughter of yours? A home-wrecking slut. Throwing herself at married men like some desperate gold digger." She slammed the phone and stormed out. I hurried after her, not wanting to miss the main event. Laura marched into Kevin's office building shrieking. "Kevin, you cheating bastard. Screwing a girl younger than your own daughter." Office workers pretended to work while eavesdropping. "At your age? Please. A 1-minute wonder with ED." The crowd followed as she charged upstairs. Kevin looked up just as Laura's designer handbag smashed into his face. "Crazy old bat," he yelled. "Old? You're the fossil sleeping with the maid's daughter." She lunged, scratching his face as colleagues gathered. Someone asked me, "Gina, what's happening?" I wiped fake tears. "Dad's cheating with our housekeeper's daughter, younger than me." I played the hotel video at full volume, complete with audio. When the CEO arrived, Laura wailed, "Make him pay. All those business trips were just him screwing that gold digger." "Let's discuss this privately," the CEO urged. "Discuss my ass." Laura punched Kevin's nose. I want everyone to see this trash. The slap echoed through the office. Psycho. Kevin roared. What followed was pure chaos as flower vases smashed. Keyboards flew. Bystanders ducking for cover. I barely contained my laughter as security finally intervened. True to predictions, the scandal forced Kevin's resignation. Though he and Laura still share icy dinners. The divorce papers remain unsigned, their war over assets just beginning. After all, their assets were intertwined. And a divorce would mean massive losses. Laura, my mother, publicly berated Lily and reclaimed the house. While Kevin, my father, vowed never to see Lily again. At school, I put on a melancholy act. When classmates asked what was wrong, I poured out the story. In our small town, gossips had already spread exaggerated versions of Kevin's scandal before I could finish speaking. OMG. How could someone like that exist nowadays? The so-called campus queen? Disgusting. Wait, Lily's actually the housekeeper's daughter? She's been faking that rich girl persona this whole time? The rumors spread like wildfire. Combined with Lily's existing notoriety, the scandal trended locally with headlines like, "Shocker, campus queen exposed as homewrecker. Housekeeper's daughter seduces married man. Fake heiress scandal goes viral." Netizens dug up Lily's and Kevin's personal information, along with video evidence. The same girl who'd basked in admiration now faced brutal backlash, especially after animal lovers exposed her cat abuse history. Kevin became a pariah, dodging paint buckets and rotten vegetables whenever he ventured outside. The day Lily came to withdraw from school, whispers followed her everywhere, "That's the housekeeper's kid. Her mom and brother are both serving time for attempted rape." Trash breeds trash. Who do you think you are? A gutter rat playing Cinderella? Pathetic. Honestly, you're not even pretty. What loser would fall for you? Lily's face flushed crimson as she muttered. "Let me through." "Through? You've got nerve. Tell us how you seduced." I noticed Lily, who usually strutted in stilettos, wore flats today. Smirking, I recalled the sabotaged condoms. Sure enough, Lily soon appeared at our doorstep. When Laura returned from shopping, she charged up the stairs. "What are you doing here?" Lily smiled serenely. "I'm pregnant." "Pregnant? Get rid of it. You think this bastard could inherit the Cooper name? Dream on. I had it checked, it's a boy. Kevin wants me to keep it." Lily tilted her head mockingly. "You're past childbearing age. Laura, would you really let Gina inherit everything?" Her smile sharpened. "Don't worry, my son will take good care of you in your old age." "You lying?" Laura's face purpled with rage. "Oh, didn't you know?" Lily feigned surprise. "Kevin's transferred all assets. You're broke. They'll repossess this house once we leave." "You." Laura shoved Lily down the bare wooden stairs I'd recently ordered stripped of carpets. Lily tumbled violently, blood pooling beneath her head. "It hurts," she clutched her abdomen. "My baby, serves you right." Laura laughed hysterically, kicking Lily's prone form. When Kevin rushed out at the commotion, Laura turned on him with the fruit knife. "If I hang for this, you're coming with me." Blood arced across the foyer as he collapsed. I slipped out during Laura's rampage. The carnage satisfied me, too gruesome for children. More absurd than any horror comedy. My father, Kevin Cooper, and Lily died despite emergency efforts, passing away at the scene. My mother, Laura, received the death penalty. I packed my father's cremated remains in a cheap plastic container and scattered them all into a stinking sewage ditch. Soon after, I heard Adam had been beaten to death in prison after crossing someone. I specifically visited Nancy at the women's prison. The moment she saw me, Nancy started screaming. "How dare you show your face here? This is all your fault. You little bitch. You ruined us." How laughable. Some people are rotten to the core, harming others first then blaming them for fighting back. I casually smiled. "Nancy, I've got 2 pieces of good news for you. Lily died, pushed down the stairs and kicked to death by my mom." "What? Oh. And your son died too." Beaten to death in prison. TSK. The Browns must have done some terrible things in their past lives to deserve this karma. Nancy gripped the bars until her knuckles turned white. My son's dead? You're lying. I glanced dismissively at her. Look at yourself. What reason would I have to lie now? These are facts. Better accept them. She stared vacantly before suddenly slamming her head against the visitation window, requiring guards to restrain her. She'd lost her mind completely. I inherited all my parents' assets, sold the mansion at a bargain price, and started fresh in another city. Opened a fashion design company. These days I sip tea with girlfriends, chat about life, take frequent vacations, living comfortably. Several suitors emerged, some gentle and attentive, others charming and witty, but I rejected them all. Some wounds never heal. If my own parents could treat me that way, trusting others is impossible. I'm content living this life alone. Olivia pushed me in front of a well-dressed lady. Sister should go with the aunt and uncle. I want to give this chance to my sister. Her voice brimmed with forced enthusiasm. The lady's gaze shifted to my sallow, undernourished face. Would you like to come home with me? The fog of confusion lifted as I realized we'd been reborn to this pivotal day at the orphanage when adoptions happened. I was 7 now. Olivia 6. This elegant woman before us was the same Mrs. Wilson whom Olivia had venomously called that evil stepmother in our previous life. Last time, Olivia had approached Mrs. Wilson first, batting her doe eyes while cooing, "Mommy, I want to be your daughter." That performance secured her adoption into the Wilson family as Olivia Wilson. She'd fantasized about becoming a socialite princess, imagining some fairy tale romance with her wealthy adoptive brother Ethan Wilson. Reality proved cruel. The Wilsons remained emotionally distant, and Ethan treated her with icy indifference. After Mr. and Mrs. Wilson's deaths, Ethan evicted her without ceremony or inheritance. Meanwhile, I'd been adopted that same afternoon by a middle-class teacher's family. Through academic excellence, I earned admission to Harvard, eventually becoming a leading AI researcher. The day Olivia got evicted, city billboards broadcasted my wedding to Jason. Enraged, she rammed her car into mine, her dying confession revealing bitter regret over her choices. Now given this second chance, Olivia shoved me forward without hesitation. I obliged, telling Mrs. Wilson I'd be honored. Mother. As we parted, Olivia whispered viciously, "Jason's mine now." Sister. Enjoy the misery I endured. The orphanage director murmured in confusion. Olivia always grabs opportunities. Why surrender this golden chance? Has she grown a conscience? The director's bewilderment stemmed from our contrasting appearances, while Olivia glowed with health from my constant sacrifices. Malnutrition left me gaunt. But I knew better. My sister mistook my past academic success for privileged upbringing, unaware the real nightmare awaiting her. The Wilson limousine passed through ornate gates I remembered from Olivia's previous vain displays. "This is your home now, Mrs. Wilson said gently. "Your name will be Emily Wilson." In the mansion's grand foyer, I feigned nervousness. Mr. Wilson sat reading in the parlor, his business empire rivaling the Browns'. Then came footsteps, Ethan descending the staircase, his adolescent features already showing the striking handsomeness that would later make society pages swoon. His name was Ethan Wilson. He was 3 years older than me. The father and son weren't exactly warm. Mr. Wilson gave me a faint smile. "Make yourself at home. We're family now." Ethan merely glanced at me coldly, furrowed his brows, and turned to go upstairs. I didn't care about their attitude. All I wanted now was a comfortable environment to grow up in. Mrs. Wilson prepared a room for me the same size as Ethan's, decorated in light blue, which I loved. But in my previous life, I'd seen this room when it belonged to Olivia, all pink princess decor, overflowing with lavish jewelry and designer dresses. Clearly, Mrs. Wilson had poured her heart into caring for her adopted daughter. I couldn't understand why Olivia had constantly called her adoptive mother that evil woman in our past life. Or how she'd managed to get herself disinherited completely. I attended the same prestigious private elementary school as Ethan. Don't tell anyone you know me. The 12-year-old tossed his messy bangs, swinging his leather backpack with practiced nonchalance. He climbed into the waiting town car but left the door gaping open. Waiting for me. I smiled. Okay. Ethan. Ethan's hazel eyes flashed. And don't call me that either. Delayed by my orphanage year, I entered first grade where I inevitably encountered Olivia. The radiant joy she'd shown during her rebirth revelation at the orphanage had vanished, replaced by dull resentment. When she saw me, her face contorted. Emily. You did this on purpose. You remember everything too. My name's Emily. Get therapy. I brushed past her into the classroom. Olivia's nails dug into her palms as she scrutinized my expression. I ignored her theatrical glare, claiming the back corner desk. In my first life, the Peters had appeared perfect, respected educators, model parents. But behind closed doors, they'd forced me to solve college-level equations at 9 years old, starved me for incorrect answers, left scars hidden under school uniforms. Their disciplinary closet still haunted my nightmares. At 19, I'd finally gathered enough evidence to destroy them. The night before my lawsuit filing, Olivia ran me down with her convertible. Now I understood her hysterical, poisonous stepmother accusations were pure fiction. The Wilsons might not hug me goodnight, but they'd never once raised their voices. Mrs. Wilson consulted interior designers for my room. Mr. Wilson quietly doubled my college fund after seeing my physics grades. Ethan still pretended I didn't exist. But last week I'd caught him threatening a classmate who mocked my orphanage clothes. This was enough. More than enough. My daily necessities and lifestyle were exactly the same as Ethan's. He routinely showed care for my well-being without pressuring me to achieve unrealistic expectations. After years of peaceful coexistence, our relationship evolved from "don't call me brother" to "you must only call me brother from now on." I later discovered Ethan had emotional detachment disorder. The Wilson family adopted from the orphanage because Mrs. Wilson became infertile after childbirth. With the Wilsons often occupied, doctors recommended medication for Ethan and a companion. Initially, Mrs. Wilson preferred adopting the lively younger girl, but noticing her reluctance, chose me instead. Now thoroughly transformed by the Wilson family's nurturing, I bore no resemblance to my former self. Olivia's story differed. Since elementary school, she'd fixated on me with venomous glares. While academics came easily through middle school, high school left her gaunt and barely passing. The Peters likely feared public scrutiny, keeping their abuse survivable. Olivia clung to the belief that college would grant escape like my previous life's redemption, waiting to witness my downfall. But fortune favors the deserving. She witnessed the entire Wilson family escorting me to college entrance exams, saw me emerge first for media interviews and family photos. Through the crowd, Olivia waved as if wanting conversation, assuming our paths would diverge post-graduation. I approached her after informing my family. Olivia's sunken eyes and toxic expression mirrored her past life vehicular rage. Maintaining composure, I asked, "What is it? You don't deserve this happiness." She spat, face contorted. "You should have died with our parents. You stole my life. Those should be my parents." Her hand flew toward my face. I flinched, clutching my scarred forearm. But the blow never landed. Ethan materialized like protective bamboo, intercepting her strike. "Explain yourself," he demanded coldly. "Brother, you're taking her side?" Olivia struggled against his grip. Ethan laughed harshly. "She's my sister. Should I help you instead?" "I'm your real sister, Ethan. I'm Olivia." Her scream made him recoil, pulling me away. "Let's go, sis. This place reeks of filth." Her words resurrected the fire I'd tried to forget. Our biological parents, ordinary workers, once showered us with love. Fathers after work pastries, mothers braided hairstyles and matching dresses. But everything changed. Olivia's sweet-talking won father's favor, claiming my desserts. Her play acting as princess made me the servant. Gradually, father's treats became hers first. Leftovers for me. Mother stopped styling my hair, tasking me with Olivia's elaborate braids before tending to my own plain locks. The hand-me-downs from my younger sister Olivia always came to me after she'd worn them to tatters. I didn't understand. I'd rebelled, cried, thrown tantrums. All I ever got were eye rolls and sneers from our parents. Olivia's your baby sister. Can't you be more accommodating? She's so adorable. While you just mope around all day. But Mom, Dad, I wasn't always like this. Each failed rebellion left me quieter. Until silence became my default. Maybe this change in me made them love me less. If they poured more affection into their precious Olivia, that was fine. That's what my 5-year-old self believed. The day everything changed started with Olivia demanding we act out her favorite game, maid-serving princess. The maid had to bake pastries for royalty. Frozen at the kitchen doorway. I earned our parents' familiar scorn. It's just pretend. Why make it difficult? We showed you how last time. Dragging a stool to the stove. I turned the gas knob. No flame appeared. Just sinister hissing and acrid fumes. Olivia flounced in waving her doll. Floral perfume briefly masking the danger. I need help lighting it. I whispered to Mrs. Wilson. Hopeless child. She threw up her hands. Who raised this simpleton? Mr. Wilson craned his neck. Where's Olivia? In the kitchen. I mumbled. They rushed past me muttering. The kitchen's dangerous. Our baby might get burned. Wait, they knew about the danger? Then why send me in? From the doorway, I saw the microwave light glowing, with Olivia's doll inside. 3 steps down the hallway. The explosion tore through the house. Mr. Wilson emerged as a human torch, shoving Olivia to safety. The neighbor's uncle called 911 while we stood watching flames consume our home. When firefighters finally extinguished the blaze, my relief outweighed grief as I stared at the charred remains. Bad daughters feel this way. My 6-year-old heart decided. Emily. Earth to Space Cadet. Ethan's knuckle flick brought me back to the car's leather seats. His frown softened when I forced a smile. Just tired. I lied. Ethan snorted. Eyes back on the road. Cry if you want. Flunking calculus isn't the end. His emotional detachment had improved significantly. He'd learned to care for family members and for me. I knew he was trying to distract me. It didn't matter, that fire felt lifetimes away. Separated by 2 existences. During our year at the orphanage, Olivia constantly accused me of burning our parents to death. But was it truly my fault? Trapped between guilt and doubt, I unconsciously shouldered the responsibilities of an older sister. I gave her my orphanage meals and donated clothing. I drifted through that year in a haze until the Wilsons and the Peters arrived. At 7 years old, I thought I'd finally get enough to eat. Yet even after changing environments, regular full meals remained elusive. Still, I wasn't the wooden child my birth mother described. I proved myself clever and driven. When college entrance exam results were released, the Wilsons threw me a small celebration. Though they disliked crowds, they wanted to showcase their accomplished daughter. Even Ethan never received such recognition. I'd topped the national science exams, just as I had in my previous life. Out of kindness, they invited the Peters, hoping Olivia would witness my triumph. They assumed she'd feel pride. They were wrong. At the celebration, I first encountered the Peters. Without looking in a mirror, I knew my face had paled. Ethan noticed my tension and clasped my hand, warm and steady. As he guided me into the hall, my racing heart gradually calmed. We'd just reached Mr. and Mrs. Wilson when a thud silenced the room. Every smiling face turned to see a girl kneeling 3 meters away, Olivia. Polite expressions shifted to awkward stares. Ethan narrowed his eyes. That the trash who tried to hit you? Before I could respond, Mrs. Wilson pulled me aside. Concerned. Emily. Were you bullied? I shook my head. Ethan stopped it. Mr. Wilson glared at the kneeling figure. This isn't the place for theatrics. Young lady. Olivia jerked her head up, smoothing disheveled hair to reveal pleading eyes. Dad. I'm Olivia. Your real daughter. Please save me, they'll kill me. Whispers erupted. The Wilsons and Ethan frowned in unison. Mr. Wilson stated coldly. You're Emily's sister? We've never met you. Their first impression, a dramatic stranger claiming false kinship. Ethan stepped forward, shielding me completely. So you're Olivia. Still trying to steal her life? Pathetic. Olivia collapsed on the marble floor as the belated Peters entered. Mrs. Peter rushed to fake concern. Olivia. Exam stress overwhelming you? Get up, today's your sister's celebration. I saw Mrs. Peter's fingertips digging into Olivia's arm, the skin beneath her nails turning pale. Olivia suddenly mustered unexpected strength, wrenching her arm free before sliding across the floor toward Ethan. Had Ethan reacted a second slower, she would have grabbed his leg, missing her target. Olivia collapsed dramatically on the floor, wailing accusations against the Peters. They forced me to study, starved me when I got bad grades, beat me, locked me in the storage room with cockroaches. Sniff, they're not my real parents. Emily. Let's switch back. Please. Tears streamed down Olivia's gaunt, pale face. Her performance almost convincing. Yet I recognized the same exaggerated theatrics she'd used since childhood. That poorly concealed resentment in her eyes never changed. She rolled up her sleeves to reveal faint bruises. Mr. Peter approached with an apologetic smile. This must be our Emily? This year's top science student, impressive. He glanced down at the sniffling Olivia. Our daughters caused quite a scene. We teachers simply want the best for our children. Parents in the room nodded understandingly. Compared to my academic achievements, Olivia's complaints seemed trivial. What's wrong with disciplining disobedient kids? Pushing them to study? Temporary confinement? Mr. Peter's casual remarks effortlessly dismissed all accusations. Mrs. Wilson patted her chest in relief. Thank goodness we adopted Emily. I lowered my eyes, smiling faintly. Olivia. You fool. If it were that simple, would I have waited until college in my past life? In my previous existence, I'd scored 725 on college entrance exams. The Peters moved near my campus during freshman orientation, forcibly withdrawing me from dorms to live under their control. That suffocating arrangement later became my opportunity. I planted hidden cameras throughout their home. The footage revealed their darkest secrets, multiple adopted children before me. Less intelligent, less durable. Some returned. Some didn't survive. They'd exploited my problem-solving skills, publishing my academic insights under their names. When I took the footage to police sophomore year, they dismissed it as illegal surveillance. Standing helpless outside the station, I encountered Jason, the notorious playboy who'd supposedly reformed after chasing one girl for 2 years. Olivia thought him her Prince Charming, never realizing he was the darkest abyss. This lifetime, I'm free from the Peters. No need to risk gathering evidence. The Wilsons personally helped me pack dorm supplies, Ethan carrying my luggage. We attend the same university now. He studies finance. I pursue physics. Campus gossip says Ethan's one of the top heartthrobs. When roommates learned he's my brother, they nearly fainted. They said Ethan came from a good family, had excellent character, and top-notch grades, the perfect high-quality man. I thought they were right. Since Ethan gradually recovered from his illness, he'd become much more cheerful. He wasn't the cold, gloomy person Olivia had described in my past life anymore. I realized Olivia would never get to see me get kicked out of the Wilson family. Because Ethan had personally told me, Emily will always be family to me. I smiled and said I believed him. My roommates were all incredibly kind. It's a shame I never experienced dorm life in my previous life. But I'm making up for it now. They brew me ginger tea with brown sugar when I'm on my period. Cover for each other when we occasionally skip classes. debate which cafeteria serves the best food, and huddle together drooling over photos of hot guys from different departments. I've never been happier. The happiness didn't last long. During sophomore year, Olivia showed up arm in arm with Jason. Her face had regained its roundness, glowing with health, and she shot me a triumphant look. Long time no see, sis. Jason's gaze lingered on my face like he was appraising merchandise, calculating its worth. I turned away coldly. Olivia shouted after me, Jason already helped me sever ties with the Peter family. I paused mid-step, understanding immediately. She must have sought out Jason earlier this time, using her foreknowledge to manipulate him. Pathetic, did she think I'd cut ties with our family in the past life just because of Jason? I replied flatly, congratulations. Congratulations on reaching your next life milestone, little sister. Straight into the next abyss. Behind me, Olivia's whiny voice carried, Jason. My sister's such a wet blanket. I can't stand seeing her on campus. Apparently she'd bided her time for a year, leveraging her past life memories to cozy up to Jason and get into this university. The Browns were powerful, but even they couldn't control everything at a top-tier school. The idea that Olivia could get me expelled through Jason's connections was laughable. Like in my past life, I joined the physics research team I loved. My advisor was one of the nation's top experts in the field. He valued my work too much to let some rich kid's whims affect my position. Besides, everyone knew I was publicly recognized as a Wilson now. Jason would have to consider the Wilson family's stance before making moves against me. Sure enough, while I was deep in research one day, my advisor pulled me aside. Have you made enemies recently? Jason and Olivia immediately came to mind. Seeing my expression darken, he patted my shoulder, don't worry. You're my student, I know you don't go looking for trouble. If anything happens, come to me. I thanked him gratefully. I'm not the confrontational type, I just want peace. But sometimes, the more you avoid rabid dogs, the harder they chase you. Better to put them down fast. Today's news cycle was dominated by Jason, 80% of headlines featured that bastard. Hashtag Jason Brown. Scion of the Brown family. Arrested for alleged prostitution ring involvement hashtag the extravagant lives of the wealthy hashtag Brown Corporation under tax and audit investigation hashtag Brown family's alleged criminal ties under probe hashtag. The heavily pixelated video made my chest tighten. In my past life, I was the one behind those blurry filters. The couch dipped as Ethan settled beside me. What's got you so upset? Today marked my 20th birthday, and the collapse of the Brown Empire. My self-gifted present. I locked my phone, flashing a bright smile. Nothing. Ethan hesitated but said nothing. Presenting an exquisite cake, mine alone. Closing my eyes, I wished, may the stars guide my journey. May we weather every storm together. I divided the cake into 4 equal slices for Mr. Wilson, Mrs. Wilson, my brother, and myself. Through the candlelight, Ethan's eyes sparkled with quiet warmth. The Brown trial captivated the nation. During the public hearing, Olivia took the stand as a victim. Live cameras captured her tearful account of being seduced by Jason's charm, drugged, and trapped in that vile club booth. Her raw vulnerability stunned viewers. Few had realized she starred in those infamous videos. Public opinion polarized. Olivia chronicled her first, second, third coercion until the judge cut her off. Your Honor, she declared. Tears were placed by steel. Victims deserve sunlight. We must confront our past to destroy it. The judge coldly interrupted, stay on topic. Watching via live stream, I noted Olivia's newfound shrewdness. Leveraging her viral fame, she amassed millions of followers as a social media influencer. Had she quit while ahead, life might have been smooth sailing. Then came the live stream where Olivia appeared with swollen cheeks. Fans bombarded the chat, who hit you? She demurred until gifts flooded the screen. Finally, she giggled through tears, actually, I have a sister. Cyberbullying engulfed me. My name trended nationally. Strangers flooded my phone with hateful calls, texts, and WeChat requests, their verification messages crammed with vitriol. Their words couldn't touch me. The Wilson family was affected. I found Olivia's live stream replay to see what nonsense she was spouting. My sister burned our biological parents to death when she was 5. We stayed at the orphanage for a year until a wealthy man from the Wilson family wanted to adopt me. But my sister stole the opportunity. Later I was adopted by another family who treated me like livestock, leaving me covered in wounds every day until I nearly had a mental breakdown and my grades plummeted. After recovering for a year, I worked hard to get into a top university. My sister introduced me to Jason. I thought he'd be my salvation. But sob stories piled up, each fact distorted beyond recognition. The comments overflowed with comfort for her and curses wishing me death. I couldn't fathom why she harbored such hatred. Did she remember being the 4-year-old who put a perfume-drenched doll in the microwave? I remembered with crystal clarity. In my previous life, I'd been trapped in that memory, locked in dark storage rooms, compulsively reliving the flames that once illuminated my darkness. That doll with its tattered clothes and matted blonde hair. The crooked label bearing my name. Who truly killed our parents? Was I at fault? But did I deserve all the blame? Evidence had turned to ashes along with our parents and that doll. Olivia had grown cunning. Her preemptive strikes planted narratives in viewers' minds, making any rebuttal sound like excuses. Even if the Wilsons publicly defended me, they'd be dismissed as accomplices. Ethan replaced my SIM card, his large hand gently patting my head. Don't worry. I'll handle this. Somewhere along the way, his habitual head flicks had softened into these comforting gestures. Rising on tiptoe, I playfully knocked his forehead. Okay. I'd always trusted him. But I intended to return every flick he'd ever given me. I buried myself in the lab for 7 blissfully quiet days until our tearful professor announced the project's success. Blinking back tears, I realized I'd completed the experiment left unfinished in my past life. Half of my 20th birthday wish had come true, reaching for the stars without wasting my youth. During my research immersion, Wilson Enterprises stock had plummeted. Not that I could have helped even if watching. Returning home, I found Mrs. Wilson weary on the sofa, her smile reappearing when she saw me. Emily, you're back. Look how thin you've gotten. Her hands felt papery as she called for bird's nest soup. Squeezing her hands, I asked, how's everything here? Leave business to the men. She deflected. Just stay off those toxic forums. I nodded obediently, though the online tide had been shifting. 4 days. Insiders had been leaking stories about me. About Olivia. Her daily live streams showcasing her swollen face kept the drama boiling. Someone had compiled all recent exposes about us. Some former classmates of Olivia began recounting her disgraceful past. I created an account and posted my first update, Emily, I won't fall into self-justification traps when slandered. If I'm guilty, present evidence. Within minutes, the Wilson Group's official account reposted, Wilson Group, but I won't tolerate slander against our princess. Evidence of defamation collected. Wilson legal team standing by. Ethan had started his internship at the company, with Mr. Wilson gradually transferring responsibilities to him. Though this post was clearly Ethan's unauthorized decision, it warmed my heart. Another trending post soon emerged, Hua University Physics Institute Wuzhensong. Congratulations to our team for overcoming the heavy ion accelerator challenge. Special thanks to my student at Emily and fellow researchers for contributing to national scientific advancement. Your passion and dedication make me proud. Public opinion shifted dramatically. Most rational voices drowned out the remaining baseless accusations. Olivia quickly deactivated her account and vanished from the internet. I noticed Ethan acting strangely lately. His gaze held odd mixtures of wariness and anxiety. Why are you following me everywhere? I asked. He averted his eyes with a dismissive snort, yet kept trailing me step for step through the bustling streets. As the year-end approached, despite corporate chaos, Ethan abandoned his workload to shadow me. Snowflakes suddenly kissed my cheeks mid-stride, reminding me today marked the anniversary of my previous life's end, that first snowfall as unpredictable as Olivia's speeding car. While returning home with groceries, a vehicle accelerated toward us at the estate gates. Through the windshield, I clearly saw Olivia's contorted face mirroring her previous life's final moments. Frozen in place, I barely registered the collision's deafening crash before hearing Ethan's whisper, "This time, I saved you." After Olivia's imprisonment, I visited her final time. Through thick glass, I lifted the receiver first. "Remember the doll you put in the microwave?" Her venomous glare transformed into terror. I watched her descend into hysterics until guards dragged her behind iron doors. Xuanzi argued human nature tends toward evil. My sister proved this true. While I fought my darker impulses through ethics and law, she embraced malice, ultimately reaping what she sowed. Both starved for affection. We chose different paths. There's no shame in craving love through trial and error. I found genuine connections. But my sister chased every scrap of false affection, expecting maximum returns for minimum effort. How could that work? When even your own sister stops loving you. After my brother Ethan divorced, my mom pressured me to get divorced so I could help raise Ethan's 2 children. Behind my back, she told my husband, "How can you be sure the baby in my daughter's belly is yours?" She told lies to him about my premarital life being chaotic. My husband actually believed her, forcing me, 5 months pregnant, to terminate the pregnancy. When I reincarnated 2 weeks before my wedding, I immediately called off my engagement to Liam. While Liam had his flaws, the main reason was that within a year, Ethan would divorce again. In my past life, when Ethan divorced, my mom and him fought viciously against my sister-in-law for custody despite knowing Ethan was irresponsible and unfit. They refused to let her have either child unless she dropped the divorce, even though Ethan had cheated and abused her. Terrified for her safety, my sister-in-law surrendered custody. Once they won, my family's cruelty escalated. They banned her from visiting, beating the children whenever she tried. When she threatened legal action, Ethan vowed to murder her parents if she dared challenge custody. To protect her family, she disappeared from their lives. Then they destroyed my marriage. They forced my 5-month pregnancy termination, nearly killing me from hemorrhaging, all to shackle me with raising Ethan's kids. My mom never outright demanded my divorce like Ethan threatened his ex. Instead, she manipulated subtly. At first, she guilt-tripped me. "Ethan abandoned his children with me. I'm nearly 60, raised you too. Now bankrupt raising grandchildren." I knew the truth. I'd urged her to grant custody to their mother with Ethan paying child support. She snapped. Wilson family children would starve before going to outsiders. I stopped arguing. Growing up, "Emma, your brother's the boy, let him have it," dictated every conflict. He took my piggy bank, hit me without consequence, claimed my bedroom when he married. My opinions only mattered when I handed her money. So when she came whining, I coldly said, "You fought for custody knowing Ethan's useless. Reap what you sowed." Undeterred, she cried, "Emma, raising you both was so hard. Your father does nothing, help me." Her help meant funding Ethan's kids. I refused. "I'm pregnant with my own bills. My in-laws would disown me for supporting nephews." She switched tactics. Behind my back, she told Liam, "How do you know that's your baby?" At 2 months pregnant, I didn't know she'd visited him. Initially, Liam seemed unaffected until she fabricated stories about my wild past and an ex-lover, sneering, "She'd never settle for you if things had worked out with him." By 4 months, Liam picked constant fights. At 5 months, he yelled, "I'm just the backup plan." Though I explained our family's son obsession, the damage was done. The miscarriage nearly killed me. Now reborn, I see the rot. No more. Let the Wilsons drown in their own toxicity. But he wouldn't listen. He retorted, "All these words came straight from your mother's mouth. If you weren't like this, why would she say them? You're her biological daughter. No matter how much she favors sons over daughters, She wouldn't harm her own flesh and blood like this. I remained silent. He continued. Emma, our only way out is to get a paternity test. If the child is mine, I'll never believe another word your mother says again. When I calmed down, I realized his distrust of me wasn't entirely unreasonable. After all, what family could tolerate having such a toxic mother? So I agreed. However, performing amniocentesis before birth carried risks. We compromised on taking the paternity test after delivery, and he accepted this arrangement. Yet within days, he grew paranoid. If your mother forces you to financially support Ethan's twins, you might cave in during a weak moment. To prevent that, he insisted, hand over your salary card. I'll set up a shared payment account for you instead. Having known each other for 8 years, through dating and marriage, I trusted his character implicitly. I surrendered my salary card. 3 days later, he picked another fight and disabled the shared account. When my 3 calls went unanswered, I silently obtained a replacement bank card and scheduled an abortion. This procedure ultimately cost me my life. Now that I've been granted a second chance, marriage seems unnecessary. But Liam refuses to cancel our engagement. After my decision, he pleaded with concerned eyes. Emma, we've known each other for years. You're not impulsive. Whatever's wrong, let's fix it together, don't throw away what we have. He wasn't wrong about my cautious nature. Growing up in a dysfunctional family taught me to meticulously weigh every major decision, including our relationship. Liam and I met as colleagues at a private firm. 3 years my senior, he became my supervisor. At my first department dinner, a coworker kept pressuring me to drink despite my allergy excuse. Liam intervened sharply, forcing alcohol on someone with allergies? Want to take responsibility if she collapses? After transferring companies 3 years later, he unexpectedly confessed his feelings. I deflected with humor, recruiting me this hard? And rejected him. He persisted with messages I mostly ignored. Our paths crossed again when a business trip left me stranded in another city, wallet, phone, and ID stolen. Appearing like fate, Liam drove me back to City A. I repaid him with dinner after he declined cash. He proposed properly during our 5th year of acquaintance. First I admired your work ethic. Then my admiration turned to heartache. That heartache became love. Considering his reliability, integrity, and looks, I said yes. Our relationship remained harmonious. His emotional intelligence preventing major conflicts. That same year, Ethan's shotgun wedding produced twin nephews by year-end. During Lunar New Year, my mother outrageously demanded I surrender half my salary to support his family, a recurring theme since I gained financial independence. Previously, I'd escaped with excuses about barely affording myself, only sending holiday red packets. This time, I snapped, support whose family? The house without a room for me isn't my home. Storming out before the reunion dinner, I called Liam. He drove 2 hours across the city to retrieve me. He spent the new year with me in my rented apartment. After learning about my family background, Liam hugged me and said, Emma, it's okay. You have me now. You'll always be my one and only. That's why I later accepted his proposal. He brought warmth during a city's coldest winter. When discussing marriage, he agreed to pay my mother's outrageous $12.800 dowry demand despite local customs averaging under $5.000 for wedding gifts. Of course, my personal savings already exceeded that amount, though my mother remained unaware. I'd originally planned to pay the dowry myself after she declared, I raised you and put you through college, but you'll belong to another family after marriage. Since I can't count on you for support, this $12.800 is repayment for my years of sacrifice. I saw this as severance payment to end our obligations. But Liam insisted. Emma, I couldn't let you pay your own dowry to marry me. So he paid. Later, I invested all my savings into our marital home's down payment and renovation. We lived separately during the first year to avoid mother-in-law conflicts, only having minor disagreements. Now he pleaded. Emma, think carefully. After breaking our engagement. Could you find someone who understands you better? His words tasted bitter. This supposedly understanding man had demanded DNA tests during my 5th month of pregnancy after my mother's false accusations. On my abortion decision day, he obsessively interrogated me about imaginary ex-boyfriends, claiming, "You took 2 years to accept me. There must have been someone else first." When reminded how I'd rejected creepy coworker K's advances by claiming a boyfriend, he twisted history, accusing me of deception. His final cruelty came as my expensive $12.800 bride turned out to be secondhand goods. Before cutting off financial support, forcing abortion and divorce, the man who brought spring warmth during winter now brought winter chill in spring. I handed him the bank card. "Liam, you're wonderful but we're incompatible. Here's your $12.800. Let's part ways." He panicked. "Does your mother want more? Just name the amount." To expedite separation, I fabricated. "She expects me to give half my salary monthly to support Ethan and his children. I can't burden you with this." After silence, he offered to negotiate with my mother, the same woman who'd originally demanded $500. $000 dowry, $200. $000 for family housing debt from my college years. $300. $000 savings with dubious return prospects. My previous threat to sever ties had reduced it to $12.800. Now freed, I watched him walk into her renewed greed trap. This led to a huge fight between us. My mom called me an ungrateful child, yelling, "Emma, are you that desperate? You think marrying someone without a dowry will make them value you? Stop being naive. They'll just see you as an easy target and brag about their son's achievement in landing a free bride." She screamed hoarsely. "You're not even married yet and already siding with outsiders. Just wait when your in-laws walk all over you. Don't come crying to me." Now that I'm pushing Liam to call off the engagement while subtly hinting it's because the dowry was too low. My mom smells blood. With the wedding approaching, she's betting Liam's family can't afford the embarrassment and demands an extra $500,000. She even presented Liam with an itemized bill of my upbringing costs. Ultimatum style, pay up or cancel the wedding. But if we cancel, she's keeping the initial $128,000 dowry, telling Liam to personally ask me for refunds. Liam was stunned by her audacity and looked to my dad, who stayed neutral. After confronting my mom, he came to me looking heartbroken. I shrugged. "You're smart, Liam. Why wade into this mess? Even if you pay the extra $500,000 now. What happens when my mom invents new reasons to demand money after marriage?" He stayed silent. 3 days later, Liam agreed to cancel. His family isn't wealthy. Another $500,000 would drain his parents' savings. That money could have been a down payment for a 3-bedroom apartment here in City A. Just as I sighed in relief over our clean breakup, Liam dropped a bombshell. He spread rumors that I was pregnant and my family was extorting him. His exact words, "Emma's knocked up but still demanding sky-high dowry? Joke's on her. If she doesn't marry me, she'll be damaged goods after an abortion. Who'd want her then?" When my friend relayed this, she hesitated before adding, "Emma, I didn't get why you were canceling at first. But if Liam really said that?" Bullet dodged. The guy's trash. Furious, I called Liam. He first denied it, then said something chilling, "Emma, I'm doing this for our future. If everyone thinks you're ruined, your mom will have to let you marry me without the dowry." I laughed bitterly. "Even if I die single, my mom would rather that than let me marry you unpaid. Keep slandering me, and I'll sue." This enraged him. "You think you're special just because I spoiled you? This whole act, fighting with your mom to lower the dowry from $500,000 to $128,000, was all a scheme to trap me into paying extra. Wasn't it?" So he knew about those past fights where I'd threatened to disown my mom over dowry demands. Hanging up, I remembered something from 6 months into our relationship. At his friend's birthday party, the friend leered at me after drinks, "How'd you bag such a hottie?" Then smirked. You know what they say about stolen dumplings? Liam cut him off by shoving a drink into his mouth. Later, he apologized, he was drunk. Don't mind him. After that, he rarely took me to his gatherings. Now it makes sense. Birds of a feather. I was just love-blind to his red flags. My past life self, 5 months pregnant before he forced me into an abortion, wasn't entirely blameless. I chose to ignore the warnings, blocking him everywhere. I thought it was over, until he showed up at my office. His new plan? Let's get you pregnant first. Your mom will have to accept the marriage then. I stared at him. Liam, do I look stupid to you? He froze. The money's returned. Stay away, or I'm calling the cops. After completely breaking up with Liam, I asked my mom for the $128,000 dowry the Brown family had given her. She refused to return a single cent, saying, "You haven't contributed anything to this family since graduating. Consider this money what you owed us all these years." I argued. That's the Browns' money. Truth was, I'd already returned Liam's money myself without telling her. My mom became even more unreasonable. What Brown's money? After dating Liam for so many years, this is just proper breakup compensation he owes you. Suddenly enlightened by this failed engagement, my mom saw new money-making opportunities. She started arranging blind dates for me. When she called demanding I come home to meet her latest pick, we had an explosive fight. If you don't return the Browns' money, I warned, don't expect me to ever come home again. Consider me dead to you. She shot back. You think I want a thankless daughter like you? Stay gone then. I blocked all her contacts immediately. The next month, I submitted my resignation. 30 days later, I left City A where I'd lived nearly 3 decades. No farewells to anyone. As my train departed, my dad called, "Emma, why are you fighting with your mom again?" Though chronically passive, he'd occasionally shown glimmers of decency. When Ethan bullied me bloody as kids, he'd been the one to intervene while mom dismissed it. He fought for my high school education when mom wanted me working at 15. He pushed for me to attend the prestigious A university instead of the local teaching college. Of course, his motivations weren't pure. Bragging rights about his daughter at a 211 university mattered more than my dreams. Still, when I earned my first part-time paycheck, he genuinely cherished my gift while mom complained about wasted money. So I'd stayed in City A like he wanted, clinging to these breadcrumbs of affection. But during my divorce crisis in the previous life, his silence killed me. Literally. "Emma? You still there?" Dad's voice brought me back. "We broke up. Mom's keeping the dowry." He chuckled nervously. "Your mom's just protecting you. After investing years with Liam." "Cut the act." I interrupted. "You both planned to keep the money for Ethan while making me repay Liam myself, right?" Silence confirmed everything. When he finally spoke, it was pathetic. "I'll send you $30,000 emergency funds." I laughed coldly. Classic good cop/bad cop routine. Accepting would trap me in their schemes forever. "Keep it. Consider that $128,000 severance pay for ending our mother-daughter relationship. If she ever needs medical care, tell her to sue me. Don't be dramatic. We're family." He pleaded. Did she ever treat me like family? The click of me hanging up echoed through the train cabin. My dad, I moved to City C, a place I'd wanted to visit for years. Found a new apartment. Landed a job. Changed my number. I blocked and deleted all family contacts except my dad's WeChat. A year later, after settling into City C, Ethan got divorced. Just like in my past life, my mom and Ethan fought for custody of both kids just to spite my sister-in-law. Once they secured custody, my mom used my dad's WeChat to ask me for money to help raise my nephews. I ignored her. After multiple failed attempts, my mom used my dad's WeChat to video call me. Unaware it was her, I answered. She launched into the same tearful script as before. "Ethan dumped the kids on me and won't pay a cent." I smirked. "Not my circus. You're the one who raised him to be a deadbeat." Want me to call you out for being a shitty parent? My mom exploded. Emma. I fed you. Clothed you. Put you through college. Is this how you repay me? Did your education mean nothing? I snapped back. Auntie. Did you forget? You sold me off for $12.800 and disowned me over a year ago. She choked on silence. I twisted the knife. You ruined your son. Quit before you destroy your grandkids too. Then hung up. My words were harsh but true. Ethan became this way because Mom coddled him since childhood. I still remember her teaching 10-year-old Ethan to slack off during classroom cleanups. When his teacher scolded him, Mom stormed to school screaming, "My son's here to learn, not mop floors." She threatened to sue the teacher for abuse until the school stopped holding Ethan accountable. His grades nosedived after that. By middle school, he skipped class to party. Teachers gave up contacting Mom, she'd always shriek, "My baby's perfect." The final straw? When Ethan bombed his college entrance exams, Mom slapped me while I watched TV, screeching, "This is your fault. Your noise distracted him." Never mind that I hadn't touched the remote all senior year. After scraping through community college, Ethan job hopped for years. When he quit a too stressful position, Mom used connections to land him a cushy gig, which he also ditched. She bankrolled his gaming addiction with $400 monthly allowance while complaining he couldn't get a girlfriend. The kicker? Mom hospitalized herself with rage hypertension after I called Ethan a loser. Or so Dad claims. Either way, I'm not funding her golden child's spawn. Months later, Dad called with his own sob story, "Emma, we're struggling. Loan me $2,000." I played dumb. Struggling? Don't you both have pensions? The combined retirement pensions of my parents amount to around 8,000 yuan. While this isn't enough for lavish spending in the outrageously expensive city A, it's sufficient for their basic needs. My father recently claimed, "I've been feeling unwell and spent money on hospital tests yesterday." Me? Maybe delete those TikTok videos first before lying? Your feed's been full of chess games, mahjong sessions, and Tai Chi in the park every single day. Me, since when did the community park become a hospital? Or did Mom send you to ask for money to support my nephews again? After awkward hesitation, he admitted, "Your brother Ethan's twins need 10,000 yuan for kindergarten tuition. We don't have that much." I countered. "Where's Ethan himself? Why should I pay for his children? Your brother's been depressed since his divorce and hasn't held steady work these months." Dad sighed. I laughed bitterly. Depressed or liberated? Without his ex-wife's nagging and with others raising his kids. He's probably living his best life. Dad. Emma. He pleaded. Your brother's always been less capable. You're the successful one. Please help me out this once. I'll make Ethan repay you when he gets back on his feet. I retorted. With what money? He never repaid the 30,000 borrowed for his car or wedding. Before he could respond, I added. This isn't about principles anymore. Truth is, I'm broke myself. Dad panicked. You've worked years. You must have hundreds of thousands saved. I need this for the children. His urgency wasn't for my well-being, but Ethan's kids. I remained silent. I'd secretly bought a condo in affordable City C, draining my savings for down payment and basic renovations. 3 months later, another call came, this time about sick twins needing hospitalization. I coldly responded. Their parents should handle this. If they can't care for them, custody should revert to their mother. My mother snatched the phone, screeching. Stop playing nice. This is her obligation. We should have demanded money instead of pretending to borrow. Now she dares ask for repayment? She threatened. Emma, pay up or we'll sue you for parental neglect. I shrugged. Go ahead. No one's stopping you. Mom. Days later, Dad called again. Emma, must we air dirty laundry over mere thousands? I scoffed. Thousands this month. Thousands next. You created this mess. Dad. Finally snapping. He shouted. How dare you speak this way? Your brother needs help. Are you trying to destroy our family? He continued bitterly. You always accuse us of favoring sons. But your coldness proves your mother right. We shouldn't have protected you, you're nothing but an ungrateful wretch. After contemplation, I stated. Actually, Dad. Sometimes I resent you more than Mom. His performative affection sickened me, false love preventing me from fully hating him like I did my mother. After all I've done for you? He roared. I countered. Did you object when Ethan's wife drove me out? Did you stop Mom from funneling money to him? My loans to you surpass Mom's bride price from the Browns. Yet everything went to Ethan. Pausing, I concluded painfully. I knew. Dad. I just wanted to believe you loved me. In my previous life, I paid with my life to realize how catastrophically wrong I was. Now, I've woken up and made peace with reality. Chasing after distant, unrequited familial bonds only breeds resentment. It's better to cut losses and prioritize survival. Dad. I finally said. If you're calling about Ethan or Mom, save your breath. Let her sue me. If the court orders me to pay even $1 and I refuse, may lightning strike me dead. Dad stayed silent. For over 3 years, I ignored his calls. Then one midnight, half asleep, I answered. His words jolted me awake. Emma. Come home. Your mother's gone. Though I blocked them, updates trickled through a friend in their neighborhood. The 5-member household, my parents, Ethan, his mistress, and their kids, still erupted in nightly fights. Ethan refused to work, draining Mom's retirement savings to fund his affair. When she finally cut him off, he stole their life savings and fled with his girlfriend. My friend sent video footage of their final showdown, Mom screaming. You took your children's education fund. Return it or I'll die right here. Humiliated by the crowd, Ethan shoved her to the ground and stormed off. Bystanders called 120 when she couldn't stand. She fractured her hip. While hospitalized, Ethan vacationed with his mistress, abandoning both kids and mother. Dad eventually sent the children to their biological mother and became Mom's sole caretaker. When he demanded I visit, I offered only this: I'll report Ethan to the police. He called me an ungrateful wretch. We stopped speaking. 6 months later, Dad's call came, come home immediately. Mom died from the stress of Ethan's ultimatum. He demanded my parents vacate their own home. Though they'd bought the property, they'd transferred ownership to Ethan years earlier to protect it from inheritance disputes. Now he wielded this against them: my house, my rules. Take the kids and get out. When Mom protested about the grandchildren's future, Ethan spat. You wanted custody, you raise them. Can't afford it? Dump them on their mother. My fiancé won't tolerate brats. The coroner ruled it a stress-induced cardiac event. I stood at her grave, listening to cicadas drone in the summer heat, the same sound that filled childhood nights when Ethan's needs always eclipsed mine. Some family legacies aren't worth preserving. My mother's health had been declining over the years with hypertension, and his words gave her a heart attack. She passed out without regaining consciousness and died before reaching the hospital. After killing my mother with stress, Ethan had the audacity to tell me at her funeral, Emma, you should take Dad with you. My father, thoroughly exhausted from recent arguments with Ethan, also wanted to come with me. I asked, why should I? They'd given all the money and property to their son, yet suddenly remembered their daughter when needing elder care. Ethan snapped. Because he's your father. I laughed coldly. Dad only believes sons provide old age security, not daughters. But fine, I'll take him if you split all the money and property parents gave you 50-50 with me. And add my name to the house deed. Dream on. Ethan shouted. I've said my piece. If you won't take him, Dad can rent somewhere. This house is mine, neither of you get anything. So we left. Outside, Dad hinted about moving to Sea City with me and bringing his 2 grandsons along. Emma, he said, I'll admit I favored Ethan slightly. But I've always cared for you too. I nodded. I know. You cared enough to groom me as Ethan's personal ATM. Dad fell silent. Years of conflict with Ethan had aged him dramatically, white-haired, deeply wrinkled, eyes clouded. Yet I vividly remembered overhearing him years ago advising a neighbor, "Tell your son his sister is his future resource. If she's unremarkable, send her to work young and take her wages. If she's smart, invest in her education for higher returns. Either way, she'll fund your son's needs without requiring inheritance." When the neighbor protested this exploitation, Dad had said, "Daughters belong to others' families eventually. Only sons safeguard your twilight years." Now I told my withered father, "You were right about sons providing security. Look how thoroughly Ethan's safeguarding himself from you. As a daughter destined for another family, I'll honor tradition by arranging your apartment near him. Your pension should cover rent until you need nursing care. That's all you'll get from me." When he tried arguing, I walked away. 3 days later, while helping him move, Liam reappeared unexpectedly. After exchanging pleasantries, the man who'd once spread pregnancy rumors about me said, "Emma, I've never forgotten you. With your mother gone, nothing stops us from rekindling things." I stared. "Liam, didn't your wife divorce you last year after reporting you for soliciting prostitutes?" His silence confirmed what my friend had learned: another manipulator trying his luck. Another scheme to shut down. So, a year ago when Liam got divorced, she called me with such schadenfreude and spilled all the tea. Liam had married the year after our engagement ended. But after getting his wife pregnant, he started cheating. His wife finally snapped during one of his escapades, had him arrested, then got an abortion and divorced him. My friend laughed hysterically while telling me, after his wife exposed him like that, not even matchmakers will touch him now. Emma, thank God you never married that walking red flag. Liam's just a total scumbag. Damn right he's a scumbag, couldn't even keep up the act permanently. Thought once there was a marriage certificate and a baby on the way, his wife would be trapped. In my past life, I'd been exactly where she was, forced into terminating my pregnancy before escaping that marriage. Now I finally understood why he'd been so paranoid after Mom said those things to him. The guilty dog barks loudest. I snorted coldly, locking eyes with him. "Liam, I warned you before, I'm not stupid." Liam, in my past life, my younger sister Emily was given to an abusive man by her first love. Yet she still chose to marry him. Throughout her marriage, she endured domestic violence. I urged her to divorce, but she refused. Eventually, she begged our parents to let her and her son move into my home for safety. During that time, she seduced my husband Michael and taught her son to call my child free spouse daddy. Just as I was about to kick them out, David and his gang broke in. They assaulted me and slit my throat. After my death, they showed no remorse. With our parents' encouragement, David even merged his family with Michael's and had a daughter together. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the day Emily called me crying about being abused. The phone rang insistently. As I answered, Emily's tearful voice came through, "Sis, David hit me again." Sobs, "What should I do?" That sentence confirmed my rebirth. My mind reeled as I stayed silent. Emily kept crying. "They even hurt Lucas." Clenching the phone, I forced calm into my voice. "If you're being abused, call the police. They'll handle it. I've got things to do." I hung up before she could respond. Looking around the empty house, Michael wasn't home yet. I collapsed on the couch, trembling with suppressed rage. This was the exact day everything had started going wrong last time. In the previous timeline, Emily had claimed David drugged and assaulted her before their marriage. Our timid parents had been secretly relieved when she accepted his $100,000 dowry, twice our local standard, calling it proper courtship. I'd been the only voice urging legal action. But Emily insisted, "He's got connections everywhere. I can't fight him." The truth emerged later. She'd reveled in being called Mrs. Wilson, enjoying the street credibility until the beatings started after Lucas turned 2. David's cycle of abuse followed familiar patterns: violence, tearful apologies, foot massages, expensive gifts. By the time Lucas turned 10, David's gangster empire crumbled. But the domestic terror continued. Now, watching sunlight filter through the curtains, I vowed this rebirth would write different endings. Let the police handle their mess. This time, I'd protect my own family. Because he was a terrible person. Ruthless in his actions. And targeted by constant crackdowns. Many of David Wilson's crew members abandoned him. As his finances dwindled, he grew increasingly bitter and drowned himself in alcohol. Every time he came home, he beat Emily savagely, leaving her bruised and battered. David didn't even spare his own son Lucas, beating them both mercilessly. Broke and unable to buy apology gifts, David could only kneel weeping at Emily's feet, offering foot baths as pathetic peace offerings. This drove Emily to constantly vent to us. In our previous life, when she complained to me, I didn't invite her to stay at my house. I just urged her to divorce him. But she refused. What shocked me was how our parents pressured her to endure the abuse for the sake of family reputation. When she tried returning to our parents' home after another beating, they turned her away to save face. Desperate, Emily begged our parents to bring her and her son to my place. My parents saw this as the perfect solution, preserving their image while saving her. They moved them into my home without consulting me. I initially objected, even using my husband Michael's supposed dislike of children as an excuse. But shockingly, Michael agreed after seeing them, claiming they deserved compassion. My parents' guilt tripped me about abandoning my sister. So I relented. Since Michael and I had agreed to remain child-free, we had spare bedrooms. Once settled, Emily began shamelessly cozying up to Michael. She took over cooking his favorite meals, did his laundry, and served him like a maid, all while wearing sheer lingerie around the house. When I confronted her about the inappropriate attire, she shrugged. This is how I dress at home. Besides, I packed in a hurry. Even after offering my clothes, she kept parading around half naked. I noticed Michael's gaze lingering longer each day. Worse, Emily started making Lucas call Michael daddy. The man who'd sworn off parenthood now glowed with paternal pride whenever he heard it. I decided to kick them out. But that night David ambushed me after work. He dragged me into an alley, snarling, "Since your precious husband keeps stealing my woman, let's see how he likes his wife getting used," before assaulting me and slitting my throat. As I bled out, everything became clear. Michael had been intercepting David this whole time. My death got David executed, removing the last obstacle. With my parents' encouragement, Emily married Michael and even bore him a daughter. My murder became their romantic origin story. My memory erased like yesterday's trash. But now I've been reborn. This time, I'll let that backstabbing homewrecker face her abuser's wrath alone. Not my circus. Not my monkeys anymore. I thought if I didn't persuade Emily to divorce this time, she wouldn't try to move into my house like in my past life. But 2 days later, she showed up at my door with my parents anyway. The moment they entered, they wore grim expressions. Emily had bruises on her face, and Lucas had injuries on his hands. My father acted like a lord, plopping onto the couch without a word, while my mother played the peacemaker. "Olivia, your sister and nephew were beaten by that heartless David. We thought they could stay here for a while." I refused outright. "This isn't suitable. They should stay with you, after all. You're Emily's parents." Their faces darkened. Dad finally spoke. "Your mother and I are too old. We can barely cook for ourselves, let alone take care of them." Mom chimed in, "And our place is too small. Yours is much bigger." Just then, Michael walked in. He froze at the scene, but his eyes lit up when he spotted Emily. He sidled up to me, asking, "Honey, are your parents here for dinner?" His words were directed at me, but his gaze stayed glued to Emily. So this was when his obsession started in our past life, and I'd never noticed. Suppressing fury, I replied, "No. Emily and Lucas were beaten by David. Our parents want them to live here." Turning to them, I added, "It's not that I'm heartless, but Michael dislikes kids. It'd be awkward." In truth, I'd used this exact excuse before, and he'd caved. But this time, I wanted to test him. Predictably, Michael flushed and protested. Olivia. Since when do I hate kids? Not wanting our own doesn't mean I'd turn away family. He reassured my parents, we have 2 guest rooms. They're welcome to stay. No. I object. I cut him off mid-sentence. The room fell silent. Emily immediately burst into theatrical tears. If my own sister hates me this much, we'll just go home and let David kill us. Lucas followed her lead, wailing pitifully. Their performance reminded me of Lucas's words after my death in the past life, good riddance. If Aunt Olivia hadn't gotten Dad arrested, we'd still be getting beaten. Even Emily had smirked, I should thank my sister. Really? I stared coldly at their crocodile tears. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught Michael watching Emily, his gaze soft with unmistakable concern. How many times had they met behind my back? Had David's surveillance been the only thing stopping him? Now that Emily was free, was he finally revealing his true feelings? The thought of my husband lusting after my sister for years churned my stomach. Mom exploded first, how can you be so cruel? She's your sister. Dad leapt up, finger quivering as he shouted, you owe her this. Who else will help her? Sister? A sister who seduced my husband? Who married him 3 months after my accidental death and had his child within a year. Their relief at my funeral had felt like daggers. So I smiled sweetly, who else? You're her parents. Why can't you protect your own daughter? My voice sharpened, or are you too scared David will come after you next? I learned to fight fire with fire. You tried to emotionally blackmail me. So I'll use the same tactic right back. The selfish schemes in their hearts were instantly exposed by me. Their faces flushed crimson, too ashamed to look at Emily and Lucas. Emily's eyes flickered with disappointment, but she quickly shifted her hopeful gaze toward Michael. A woman's sixth sense is never wrong. She'd clearly known about Michael's interest in her all along, which explained her expectant expression as she stared at him. My parents fell silent under my accusations, their eyes also pleading with Michael. Michael immediately straightened up and turned to me. Honey, she's your own sister. Don't be so heartless. I glared at him before rushing to the floor-to-ceiling window, climbing onto the balcony railing. If you force them to move in, I'll jump right now. The threat paralyzed them all. Fear of actual tragedy finally drove my parents to flee with Emily and Lucas in tow. Michael shot me a disgusted look. Olivia. I never knew you could be this cruel. He stormed out after them, following discreetly. I watched from the apartment complex courtyard as Michael intercepted the group. Olivia's lost her mind. But don't worry, there's another vacant unit 2 buildings over. I'll take you there. My parents grasped his hands gratefully. Michael, you're our savior. Our daughter and grandson owe you their lives. Basking in their praise, Michael waved modestly. It's nothing. Really. Emily gazed at him with starry-eyed admiration before hesitating. But what if my sister finds out? Michael's eyes darted toward my hiding spot. I ducked behind a pillar just in time. Relax. He reassured her. Olivia never goes to that apartment. She'll never know. As they disappeared into the neighboring building, I walked away coldly. This betrayal would have shattered my past self. But after reliving my tragic death in that previous life, all I felt was icy resolve. Let Michael hide Emily and her son there, it only strengthened my divorce case against him. 4 days. I pretended ignorance of his secret visits. His behavior grew suspicious, late returns from work, skipped dinners, obvious trips to Emily's apartment. While Michael worked and Emily took Lucas to school, I installed hidden cameras throughout both residences, every room, hallway, and entrance. 10 days later, I dropped the bomb. Let's divorce. Shock distorted Michael's features. Olivia. Why? What did I do? Had I not witnessed his revolting surveillance footage, I might have believed his act. The recordings showed Michael cooking elaborate meals for Emily and Lucas, this from a man who'd never boiled water for me. The boy called him daddy while Emily paraded in increasingly revealing outfits, their lingering glances culminating in a kitchen embrace that defied all decency. Meeting his feigned innocence, I replied frostily. I want children. Let's divorce so I can find a real man to start a family. I left his dirty secret unspoken, for now. The cameras kept rolling. Because I felt this evidence wasn't even necessary for divorcing him. Besides, keeping it serves a greater purpose. Michael froze momentarily. A flicker of delight flashing in his eyes. He's probably thinking the divorce would free him to be with Emily. Right? Yet he still feigned reluctance. Offering that half-hearted refusal. Don't do this. Honey. Even though I'm child-free. We could adopt. Humph. What a pathetic excuse. In our previous life, he'd fathered a daughter with Emily. Back when he first proposed being child-free. He claimed it was to spare me childbirth pain. I thought it stemmed from love. Turns out he simply didn't want children with me. Though fully aware of his insincerity, I continued the charade. Michael. I don't want adopted children. I need to experience motherhood myself. This house you bought after marriage, I won't claim it during the divorce. You needn't worry about me taking your assets. As for Unit 12, though smaller, I contributed most to its purchase. That one should go to me. His face paled at the mention of the unit. Not because he feared losing property, but because Emily currently lived there. My move had truly blindsided him. Stalling desperately, he pleaded, must we rush this? Could you give me a few days to consider? I smiled coolly. Of course. He bolted to Emily after our tense dinner. Through the surveillance feed, I watched him urgently pull her into the bedroom. Emily. Pack immediately. Take Lucas, I'm moving you both to a hotel. Olivia wants the unit in the divorce. The panicked girl stammered through tears. Okay, but where will we live after? Michael? He embraced her reassuringly. Stay at the hotel temporarily. Once the divorce finalizes, I'll bring you home. She kissed him gratefully before scrambling to pack. Michael followed behind, meticulously erasing traces of their presence, determined to leave no evidence for when I moved in. They departed after restoring the unit's original state, presumably checking into the hotel. Michael returned late that night. Since my rebirth, I'd deliberately avoided intimacy. Now that he'd tasted forbidden fruit with Emily, our impending divorce made separate bedrooms inevitable. The next morning, he announced abruptly, I've decided. If motherhood matters this much to you, I'll sign the papers. That unit's been vacant. I had cleaners prepare it yesterday, you can move anytime. How considerate. Had I not watched him scrub the place himself through the cameras? Feigning urgency, I grabbed random clothes. We'll finalize the divorce papers when I return. My company needs me in Sea City immediately, emergency business trip. Before his stunned expression, I dashed out. When are you coming back? He called after me, probing for information. Slipping shoes on hurriedly, I replied, whenever work permits. No set date. I drove straight to Sea City, checked into a hotel, and leisurely sipped coffee while monitoring the cameras. Truthfully, I'd taken annual leave last night. This was merely a getaway. On screen, Michael paced restlessly during his call with Emily, no idea when she'll return. Stay put at the hotel, she might reappear suddenly. Yeah, neither property's safe right now. Don't worry about the hotel expenses. I'll cover them. I'll come find you after Lucas falls asleep tonight. I deliberately extended my stay in City C. During this time, Michael kept calling to ask about my return date. I prolonged each day intentionally. He couldn't risk taking them back home, meaning he'd have to keep paying for their hotel stay as long as I delayed. After stretching this out for 2 weeks until Michael's patience wore thin, I finally returned. We swiftly signed divorce papers and I moved into Building 12. Michael struggled to contain his glee post-divorce. Within days, he brought Emily and Lucas back home. I orchestrated a chance meeting with Emily at the community gates. She paled upon seeing me. Stammering, Olivia? Where are you headed? Home. I smiled. What brings you here? Masking panic with false composure, she offered. Michael took pity on us. Let us stay with him. Feigning surprise at her act, I countered, don't call him brother-in-law anymore. We're divorced. Gasping theatrically, She pressed, but Michael never mentioned this. You should have consulted family. What difference does your knowledge make? I dismissed. Walking away. It's done. His affairs don't concern me. Home security footage later showed them embracing. I nearly died seeing Olivia earlier. Emily whispered to Michael. Thankfully she bought my act and won't interfere now. Freedom at last. Michael grinned. Fingers threading through her hair. We can do whatever we want. Their entangled bodies sank into the couch. But true freedom? With David still breathing? They'd forgotten his existence. Time for reminders. Despite loathing David, I staked out his apartment complex. Late that night, he appeared with a voluptuous woman clinging to him, explaining his absence from Emily's life this time. My neck chilled at his approach. Phantom knife pains resurfacing. Only physical disadvantage stopped me from strangling him. Sister-in-law? David sneered, deliberately using the provocative title. What brings you here? Maintaining composure. I stated my parents hosted Emily and Lucas. But with my divorce from Michael, you should reclaim your family. The arrangement's improper now. Why? He shrugged. Spit hitting pavement. Her family home's fine. She cramps my style with other women anyway. Nauseated. I pushed harder. I've moved out. Only Michael remains with them. Distracted by his companion. David mumbled dismissively while steering her inside. That's so kind of you to help take care of them both. I fumed. Oh, he's been extremely kind. That's why my sister Emily parades around in lingerie for him daily. And your son keeps calling him daddy. As expected, David immediately shoved the woman off his lap. His eyes turned bloodshot like a rabid animal. What the hell are you implying? Has Michael been screwing my wife? I shrugged. Your guess is as good as mine. Without another word, David stormed out toward our neighborhood. The woman shot me a dirty look before leaving. Timing it perfectly. I checked the security feed. The camera showed David pounding on Michael's door like a madman. Inside, Michael and Emily froze mid-conversation. Though not caught in the act, Emily's sheer nightgown left little to imagination. When Michael opened the door, David bulldozed past him. The sight of Emily's revealing outfit made him snap. He backhanded her so hard she stumbled. You filthy whore! Cheating on me with your own brother-in-law? Emily clutched her cheek, sobbing. It's not true. I'm just staying with Olivia while she's away. We're not alone. Michael jumped in, voice shaking. David. I'd never touch my sister-in-law. Olivia let them crash here out of pity. Their pathetic duet only enraged David further. He slapped Emily's other cheek before spinning around to deck Michael. The office worker crumpled like tissue paper. You think I'm stupid? David sneered. Olivia and Michael are already divorced. Keep lying through your teeth. Michael scrambled up, nose bleeding. Even if we split, I'd never sleep with your wife. I'm just helping them out. I almost pitied Michael's stupidity. Had the punches scrambled his brains? David's fist connected again. When Michael fumbled for his phone screaming, I'll call 911. David hesitated. No evidence. 3 DUI convictions made him cautious. Fine. David spat, jabbing fingers at both. Consider this the appetizer. Main course is coming. The moment he left, Emily rushed to ice Michael's face. They tenderly nursed each other's wounds, a grotesque parody of domestic bliss. Watching their panic eased the phantom knife slash on my throat. But not enough. Only their deaths could erase that memory. On screen, Emily trembled. What if he comes back? Relax. Michael croaked, stroking her hair. He's all bark. Mention cops and he flees like a... Her whimper cut him off. I'm still scared. He held her close, murmuring empty comforts until her tears dried. David stayed quiet for days. The calm before the storm. Just when I thought David had given up harassing Michael and Emily, he showed up at their doorstep again with his crew. They didn't lay a hand on Michael or Emily. Instead, 2 men restrained Michael, tying him tightly to a chair, forcing him to watch as David assaulted Emily. Emily fought back, screaming and hitting him. This is assault. You know. David slapped her across the face, snarling. You're my wife. I can do whatever I want. The depravity of it made Michael shout. Even if she's your wife, forcing her is still marital rape. It's illegal. David released Emily, strode over, and struck Michael too, gripping his jaw. You care so much about her, admit you've been sleeping with her. Michael struggled against the ropes, chair rattling as he yelled. Stop making up lies. When Michael refused to confess, David didn't waste more words. He raped Emily right in front of him. She screamed and clawed at him. But it was useless. After finishing, David left with a casual wave. Emily numbly untied Michael before collapsing into his arms, sobbing so violently he nearly cried too. This nightmare repeated every few days. David invented new ways to torment them, even filming the abuse to blackmail them into silence. Their suffering was unbearable. I'd grown sick of David's slow burn tactics. Worse, I couldn't stand seeing my parents alive and well anymore. They came for me again. My mother slapped me the moment she saw me, trembling with rage. You vile creature. Divorcing Michael without telling us. Yet you rushed to snitch on Olivia hiding with him? My father swung his cane at me, roaring. Do you want your sister dead? Now David terrorizes them daily, is that your plan? Honestly, compared to having my throat slit in my past life, their blows felt painless. But the humiliation burned. I laughed bitterly, firing back. Funny, my gossip might kill her. But you never cared if bringing them home would kill me. Did you? They froze. Then spat. We had no choice. You're the older sister, you should sacrifice for Olivia. Same old excuse they'd weaponized since childhood to force my endless sacrifices. Not anymore. I glared coldly. You're just cowards hiding behind family. Pathetic. Walking away. I felt nothing for them now. Their role in my murder and pushing Michael toward Olivia in my past life hardened my resolve. I didn't seek David out. After days of stalking his routines, I intercepted him alone on a surveillance-less route. He looked startled but turned, demanding, why divorce Michael suddenly? What do you know? I understood his paranoia. He'd never caught Michael and Olivia in the act, clinging to denial while torturing them. But this monster deserved death too. Feigning anguish, I handed him the damning security footage I'd saved. I wanted to spare you this pain, I sniffled. This camera was for burglars. But I found, just watch. Then divorce Olivia. Let those cheaters rot together. David frowned, squinting at the video. The more he watched, the paler and redder his face became, trembling uncontrollably. It was the video of Michael and Emily's first intimate encounter in the kitchen. Though David had suspected their affair, witnessing it firsthand shattered his last shred of delusion. No man with macho pride like David could stomach seeing his wife with another man. His dignity felt trampled under their feet. Seizing the moment, I casually remarked, blame my parents. If they hadn't sent Olivia and Lucas to hide from you at my place, Michael and I wouldn't have divorced. David's jaw clenched audibly. I added fuel. You should file for divorce before Emily betrays you again. I'm not weak like you. David spat venomously. I won't grant them divorce, I'll make them pay with their lives. Through some pretext, David lured my parents to Michael's house. The moment they entered, his accomplices tackled them to the floor. Their shock doubled upon seeing Michael and Emily bound, then tripled when spotting Lucas restrained too. My parents wept realizing David's madness extended even to his own son. Their doom was sealed. True to form, David showed no mercy. He slit Michael's throat first, the man choking on filthy socks until his terrified eyes glazed over. My parents remained indifferent to Michael's death, though Emily wailed for him. Then came Lucas. I'll never understand how David could kill his own child. Until his roar explained everything. You slut. Who knows how many men you've had? This bastard might not even be mine. Lucas is yours. Emily screamed through hysterical sobs. David sneered. Better safe than sorry. Advancing toward the petrified boy, Lucas died wide-eyed. mirroring his aunt's indifference toward my past suffering. My parents alternated between pleading and cursing as their turn came. Their throats met the same blade. Emily descended into mad laughter watching her parents bleed out, but met her end regardless. I departed for business in the south, smashing the surveillance phone against rocks before hurling it into the ocean. The number had been deactivated since my divorce anyway. My new burner phone, prepped months earlier through mobile hotspots, would never be traced. I did all this just in case the police came looking for me. But it turned out I'd worried for nothing. David and his accomplices were quickly apprehended. They confessed to everything they'd done. Given the horrific nature of the crimes, all three received death sentences. The police simply followed routine procedure to have me identify the bodies and gave me a brief interview. After that, it was over. I hurriedly arranged their funerals, sold off whatever property I could liquidate, and moved to a city I actually liked to buy a home and settle down. Under endless skies and drifting clouds, I began to live out the rest of my days. My fiancé John fell in love with an orphan girl his family had been supporting, even going so far as to break off our engagement. I saw through Ivy's gold-digging intentions and tried to reason with him. But you can't save those hellbent on destruction. The scheming bitch outplayed me instead. Ivy faked her suicide by jumping into the ocean while actually fleeing with stolen money. When John witnessed his beloved's suicide, he blamed me entirely and launched his revenge. First, he bankrupted my family's business through reckless corporate warfare. Then he framed me for financial crimes, paying inmates to give special care to me in prison until I died from the abuse. When I reopened my eyes, I found myself back at the day of Ivy's planned disappearance. This time, I immediately sent an anonymous tip to John. Oh no, she doesn't, these toxic lovebirds belong together. Their dramatic reunion would make perfect material for my upcoming tell-all memoir and reality show. John's shouting match with William and Mary echoed through the mansion. I'm choosing Ivy. The engagement is off. The phantom pain of a smuggled toothbrush stabbing my throat still lingered. This was definitely the day I'd died before. Last life. I'd rushed to expose Ivy's embezzlement from the Wilson family funds. But John called me a jealous liar. That night, Ivy sent her suicide note swearing she'd never be a homewrecker, complete with fake tear stains and GPS coordinates to her jump site. By the time John found her staged death scene, she was sipping cocktails in Bali. Now, I texted John from a burner number using Ivy's speech patterns, no suicide mentions. Just a bittersweet farewell request to meet at the airport. He didn't even check the sender before snarling. What did you do to Ivy? If she's really gone, you'll pay. He sprinted out like Cinderella before curfew. Mary patted my hand with cold-blooded elegance. Emily dear, we'll handle this gold digger. You're our only daughter-in-law. Her manicured claws reminded me of her gloating prison visit last timeline, when she'd blamed me for her son bankrupting both our families. I conjured tearful sniffles. Aunt Mary, I can't force John's heart anymore. The Wilsons publicly humiliating the Johnsons. Grandfather would have dissolved the merger himself. Let them think I was surrendering. My cameras were already rolling at the airport where John would intercept Ivy, right before her flight to Panama with $20 million in embezzled funds. The real show began when security accidentally detained them both. I adjusted my hidden lapel pin recorder. This screaming match about offshore accounts and forged documents would trend for weeks. My production team's hashtag billionaire breakup was already trending. Let them destroy each other. I had a media empire to build. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, that is William and Mary Wilson, immediately exchanged glances. Mary sat down beside me. Emily, how could you say that? We know you've been wronged. But as I told you earlier, you're the only daughter-in-law we'll ever accept. No one can replace you or break our family alliance. She slipped off a jade bracelet from her wrist, translucent emerald perfection. My eyes flickered imperceptibly. Mary clasped it around my wrist. Consider this our apology for John's behavior. You know he's been spoiled since childhood, hot-headed but well-meaning. He still cares for you. Just temporarily blinded by that woman. The jade warmed against my skin as I sniffled pitifully. I understand. See? Emily's always been reasonable. The Wilsons relaxed visibly. My lips curved as I admired the bracelet, last week's auction star. Valued at over $3 million. In my previous life, I'd never received such royal treatment. John returned an hour later with Ivy. Fingers interlocked like conjoined twins. He stiffened upon seeing me wiping imaginary tears but recovered quickly. Mom? Dad. Ivy's my soulmate. I refuse to marry Emily. If you disapprove, we'll elope. Mary paled. After all we've sacrificed, you'd abandon us for this gold digger? I watched their spat with cold amusement. She still underestimated her son's idiocy, a love-struck lunatic who'd driven our family to ruin before. In my past life, after faking her death, John had lured my parents and me to his suicide scene with manipulative messages about joining his lost love. When I arrived bearing evidence of Ivy's survival, he'd knocked me unconscious and framed me for his self-inflicted injuries. Even after my imprisonment, he'd paid inmates to torment me. My palms stung from clenched fists. Across the room, Ivy stood trembling yet defiant. Stop bullying John. Love can't be controlled. He's just choosing passion over profit, what's wrong with that? Mary slapped her. You gutter rat. I regret ever funding your education. She raised her hand again. But John shielded Ivy. This is my decision. Mom. Leave her alone. The jade bracelet glinted mockingly on my wrist. This time, their tragic romance would end very differently. They remained at a stalemate for a long time. Suddenly John noticed me watching the drama unfold. Emily. I know you've always been reasonable. Feelings can't be forced. Please convince Mary to let us break off the engagement. He pleaded. Caught off guard, I pinched the soft flesh at my waist to summon tears, widening my eyes in feigned shock. John, how could you do this? You can't trample on my feelings just because I love you. I let my voice crack before fleeing the Wilson mansion. Their escalating arguments still audible as I left. The engagement would end, but not without extracting proper compensation. John clearly thought me an easy target. 2 days later, he summoned me again. I deliberately applied foundation 2 shades paler and skipped lipstick. The mirror approved, perfect tragic heroine makeup. He couldn't meet my eyes. Emily. You know I love Ivy. I must do right by her. That country villa you liked, his voice trailed off as he slid a check across the table. My pulse quickened at the unexpected windfall. Forced relationships never last. I wish you and Ivy happiness. I sniffled, snatching the check before dramatically exiting. 8 figures glowed on my banking app minutes later. I celebrated by purchasing a luxury apartment in cash, no forwarding address provided. In my previous life, after Ivy's death, John had destroyed my family without hesitation. My so-called parents, a philandering CEO father with multiple illegitimate heirs and a coldly pragmatic socialite mother, had thrown me to the wolves. When John later demanded my apology, they delivered me bound like sacrificial livestock. Now I carried Mary's jade bracelet, or its $500 replica, while the authentic piece funded my new security system. My hired investigators, former paparazzi, received a $50,000 retainer plus bonuses for every verified sighting of John or Ivy. The update came sooner than expected. John had ended his hunger strike. Surveillance footage showed him loading luggage into a car. Ivy's prison apparently had lax security. Anticipation hummed in my veins. Every reckless move they made would pad my accounts further. Let them play star-crossed lovers. I'd be the ghost haunting their fairy tale, bleeding their fortune drop by crimson drop. I recently got a new phone number and promptly messaged the Wilsons while also sending myself a text. John is eloping with Ivy. They're at the airport now, hurry. Timing it perfectly. I met up with William and Mary, who looked shocked. Emily. What are you doing here? I pulled out my phone. Someone anonymous texted me about John leaving. I couldn't trace the sender. Their expressions confirmed they'd already investigated but hit dead ends. Of course they couldn't trace it. I'd paid $50 cash at some hole in the wall store without ID verification. Internally smirking, I put on my most devastated face. Mrs. Wilson. John, I trailed off artfully, watching Mary's face darken. Don't worry, dear. She patted my hand. He won't escape this time. I simply dabbed at non-existent tears, having learned from past lives that playing the fragile victim works better than being the aggressor. Last time I'd been their weapon against their son, only to get blamed for everything. Now, let the Wilsons do their own dirty work. John and Ivy got dragged back by security, his perfect hair mussed and her icy composure cracking. My heart sang watching the spectacle. Mother! Call them off! John roared until Mary's slap silenced him. Have you lost your mind? Abandoning family business. Your fiancé for this gold digger. I jumped in before they could blame me again, chin trembling with Oscar-worthy resolve. If he's chosen Ivy, I'll step aside. Some loves aren't meant to be. Mary panicked, cutting me off mid-sacrifice. The Wilsons couldn't afford me breaking the engagement, not with our family's joint venture on the outskirts project still ongoing. My family might not be the wealthiest, but compared to Ivy the penniless orphan, I was their golden ticket. William hauled John away while Mary scrambled to console me, finally pressing a jade Buddhist pendant into my palm. My eyes lit up with genuine interest. You're right, men will be men. I'm sure John will come around. Mary beamed at my compliance. You've always been different from those other hussies, Emily. As a token, her phone already buzzed with a bank transfer notification. 1% profit share from the suburban land development. Consider it an early wedding gift, even if it's just a little something from Mary to add to your dowry. My smile grew more sincere. Mary, you're too kind. I know you're a good girl. It's getting late, you should head home and rest. My phone buzzed with a payment notification moments after leaving. Not a wasted trip after all. When John had tried starving himself after being dragged home. The Wilson family had 4 nutrients ready. His parents ignored his protests until he gave up. Now here he was at our usual cafe, awkwardly asking, "How have you been lately?" After requesting this meeting to apologize. I couldn't exactly say I'd been thriving. Letting my eyes well up, I stirred my coffee with practiced melancholy. Same as always, I finally murmured. My restraint during the whole Ivy debacle clearly weighed on him. Love isn't something you can control, he blurted, avoiding eye contact. You understand that, right? I lifted my chin proudly. I do. But whoever considered me? That day I came to plan our wedding. You brought home another woman. Declared you'd be with her forever. Did any of you think about how that felt? The guilt tripping worked beautifully. John slid over a check, mumbling about financial compensation being his only option now. I pretended reluctance before leaving it on the table. He'd never dare take it back. Since you're so determined, I'll wish you both well, I said breezily. Though I suppose your parents still disapprove? He nodded. They'll come around eventually. I nearly applauded his delusion. Let the star-crossed lovers have their drama, but not too much. If Ivy tried disappearing again, leaving some tragic note? Who knew what that lunatic might do? Here's an idea, I offered. Our engagement can't be dissolved immediately anyway. Why don't we stage a little performance? John looked at me, his eyes lighting up with excitement. I can help you get Ivy out. But in exchange, you need to tell me every address you visit. That way, if your parents check up on us, our stories will match. John nodded eagerly. Deal. I'm just overwhelmed. I never thought you'd still want to help me. I forced a bitter smile. What can I say? I've had a crush on you since we were kids. My lips curved knowingly, this love-struck fool. After a pause, he added, Don't worry. I'll make sure you're taken care of financially after, well, everything. You won't lose both love and money. I glanced at this romance-obsessed simpleton and gave him my most sincere grin. I hope you two last forever. After all, their prolonged drama meant prolonged paychecks for me. Over the following weeks, John and Ivy became inseparable under my cover. But I knew the clock was ticking. The company funds had been sitting in Ivy's account too long. If she didn't flee the country soon, the embezzlement would surface. She'd never loved John anyway. His wallet had always been her true target. Every escape attempt she made, I'd tip off John through anonymous texts. Her growing frustration amused me. She never suspected the rotating teams of private detectives tailing her 24/7. With William's declining health, John had taken over most family business operations. But lately, the heir apparent had abandoned spreadsheets for sweet nothings, leaving the company in chaos. When William's executives started calling me directly, I knew the game was advancing. Emily. William's voice crackled through the phone. I hear you've been spending time with John. Do you realize he's neglected the company? Everything's falling apart. I feigned surprise. He visits me briefly each day. But I wouldn't dare monitor him. Not after last time he disappeared. The line went silent as my words hit their mark, a reminder of John's previous elopement attempt. I didn't mean, William backpedaled, choking up slightly. I murmured. I understand your concerns. But his work schedule isn't my place to question. Hanging up. I smiled. The final act approached. Years ago during this season, the Wilson family's empire had crumbled under financial scandal. Ivy, then a trusted accountant and John's beloved, had processed factory payments that never arrived, payments crucial for their flagship product line. By the time anyone noticed, she'd faked her death with a dummy corpse and vanished with the cash. Now history repeated. But with key differences. Though Ivy had the money, my interference kept her trapped. Factories had begun protesting delayed payments. Their latest demonstration reaching William himself. When he finally checked the accounts, the missing millions stunned him. Confrontation loomed. But John blocked his father's path. Ivy would never betray us. Accusing her without proof insults me and our love. The stage was set. Let the lovers defend their fairy tale while the real players counted their chips. John stood facing William, making solemn promises with unwavering determination etched across his nostalgic expression. As the heated argument between John and William continued, my private investigator sent an urgent update. Ivy had bribed security from the Wilson family and was heading to the airport to flee. They asked if we should intercept. I immediately devised a plan, instructing them to send anonymous alerts to John, William, and Mary while delaying Ivy's escape. I emphasized keeping her visible at the airport to maintain the illusion of attempted flight. The team responded with a crisp okay. Soon, our phones buzzed with a familiar coded message, Ivy suspected of embezzlement. Intercept immediately. The Wilsons, already anxious about missing corporate funds, took the bait instantly. Yet even now, John clung to his delusion. She's just handling overseas business. I know she'd never betray me. He insisted. The investigators messaged me privately. They'd accidentally rammed a luggage cart into Ivy's ankle during an emergency sprint, leaving her limping and cursing in the terminal. Amused, I transferred $2,000 with the note, bonus. Their instant reply, always a pleasure serving the boss. Arriving at the airport, we spotted Ivy hobbling nervously behind an international flight's boarding line. She dropped her suitcase and bolted upon seeing us. But her injury made escape impossible. John lunged forward, gripping her wrist. Why run? Ivy? I'll protect you. How did you find me? She panicked. His gaze remained tragically lovesick. I was worried. People said you were fleeing. But I know you'd never. Enough. Ivy exploded as police approached. If you hadn't delayed me, I'd be gone with the money. You're pathetic. Can't take a hint? I watched with grim amusement as John froze. This isn't real. They're forcing you to say this. Right? She wrenched free with a bitter laugh. Forced? You think I'd tolerate you without the Wilson fortune? You're delusional. When officers led Ivy away despite the family's threats and pleas, John stood shell-shocked. But, our love. The last threads of his fantasy unraveled as she spat over her shoulder. Your money bought my acting. Nothing more. The terminal buzzed with whispers while security escorted out the disgraced heiress. I observed John's crumbling world, wondering how long before he'd acknowledge the truth. His precious first love had always been a $2,000 an ankle con artist. She stubbornly refused to admit defeat and hand over the money. Laughing maniacally, she sneered, "The funds have already been transferred overseas. I'd rather die than return a single cent. You ruined my chance to become wealthy. Now you'll taste bankruptcy yourselves. Weren't you all so urgent about needing this payment for the factory? Let's see how long you last without it." Her hysterical laughter echoed as police officers led her away. John stood shell-shocked at the airport, collapsing onto the floor while muttering, "This can't be real. Ivy would never. You must have forced her. This is all lies." Eventually William dragged his disgraced son home, unable to bear the public humiliation. Watching this spectacle, I nearly laughed aloud. Much as I hated to admit it, Ivy was right. Without that capital, the Wilsons were doomed. They'd gambled their entire liquidity on this doomed project. With the money untraceable overseas, recovery proved impossible. John's world crumbled upon discovering his precious first love's betrayal. For weeks he wallowed in misery while I gleefully followed the scandal from home. Could I have warned them earlier? Perhaps. But why would I? My second chance at life served two purposes: escaping these vipers and making them pay. After all, they'd literally killed me in my previous life. The real surprise came when John sought me out. In that familiar cafe, the once vibrant air now resembled a haunted ghost. Love's casualties showed starkly on his gaunt face. "I was wrong, Emily," he pleaded, eyes bloodshot. "I never imagined Ivy could. She played us all. That ungrateful snake." I stirred my cappuccino, remembering our last encounter here when he'd gushed about his undying love for Ivy. Now this dramatic about-face? Pathetic. "What exactly do you want from me?" I asked coldly. He blinked, unprepared for my detachment. As if that walnut-sized brain couldn't comprehend being rejected. Fidgeting awkwardly, he blurted, "Ask your father to bail us out. Once we recover, I'll marry you properly. You'll be my only wife. I swear. No more contact with Ivy ever." My laughter rang out sharp and sudden. "You actually think I'd want you?" His confusion would have been comical if it weren't so tragic. "But, you've always loved me. It's not like helping would strain your family." The coffee cup clattered loudly as I stood. "Love you? For what? Your pea-sized brain full of romantic delusions? Your laughable Casanova complex? Name one quality worth loving." Grabbing my purse, I left him gaping like a stranded goldfish. Some people never learn. If you came here today to ask me for money, then you've got the wrong person. The Wilson family's financial gap exceeds $500 million. I don't know what your so-called factories have been producing, but whether it's the Johnson family or any other clan, none of us can fill that black hole. You're on your own. I turned to leave when John suddenly stood up. "Emily, you can't be this heartless. You're pushing me toward death." I snorted without looking back. "Cowards like you only know how to threaten people who care about you with suicide. Too bad I couldn't care less whether you live or die. Go ahead and rot." The Wilson family eventually went bankrupt. Later I learned they'd been illegally manufacturing pharmaceuticals through their factories, planning to rebrand them for sale. When the factory didn't receive final payments, they sued. During the judicial investigation, authorities discovered the Wilsons hadn't even obtained proper drug distribution licenses. That's why no one would lend them the $500 million. Everyone knew their empire was built on a hornet's nest. William and John were both imprisoned. With the family pillars gone, the Wilson empire collapsed within days. Former shareholders scavenged remaining assets like vultures before fleeing. Soon only Mary remained from what was once a glorious dynasty. Though William had handled most business affairs, John was released after a few months in prison. But upon release, he attempted suicide. After being revived, he immediately demanded to see me. Mary pleaded with me for days, swallowing her pride to beg for this meeting. It reminded me of my previous life when I'd been accused of murder. Desperately begging her to testify. She'd stared at me then with ice-cold hatred. If not for you, I wouldn't have forced John to break up with Ivy. This is all your fault. Yet I went anyway. The moment I saw John, something felt off. His eyes held calculating sharpness that didn't belong to him. Then he spoke. And I understood. You've been reborn too, haven't you? He stated with certainty. I smiled and nodded. He grimaced bitterly. I knew it. You orchestrated all this for revenge. Still an idiot. I scoffed. Emily. I've changed. Tears welled in his eyes. You've had your vengeance. I've died once already. Can't we start over? I'll make it up to you. After everything. I realized you're the only one Hard pass. I interrupted. I've got wealth. Freedom. And no man dragging me down. Why would I settle for damaged goods like you? His face froze. I walked out without another glance. The moment I entered, I heard John tumble off the bed behind me. He wailed about wanting to restart our relationship, babbling about regrets. Later I heard after the Wilson family's bankruptcy, Mary used their remaining funds to open a small eatery. But having lived in luxury for decades, neither could handle the grind. The business folded within days. After blowing through their last savings, they took up menial jobs. He became a neighborhood security guard while she cleaned stairwells. Whenever I passed by, both mother and son would avert their eyes, not wanting to rub salt in wounds. I started avoiding that exit entirely. When my parents learned about the Wilsons' downfall, they tried swapping in another arranged marriage candidate. Upon hearing this, I packed my belongings and boarded the next flight overseas. Years later, I returned to find my dear father critically ill. Though his health had been failing, he'd clung to his parade of young mistresses until finally suffering a stroke. My precious mother had already siphoned off a chunk of cash to enjoy life with some boy toy, abandoning him completely. His legion of illegitimate children had divided the remaining assets while I was abroad, though none bothered with his care. To keep me from contesting, they'd generously left the largest share in this rotten pie for me. I cheerfully accepted my portion before dumping him in a budget nursing home. $3,000 monthly. Nothing fancy. The pathetic wretch died within weeks. At the funeral, I dabbed fake tears before sending him off to the afterlife and flushing his ashes down the toilet. That very night, I celebrated my warm inheritance by ordering 10 male models. Nestled among them, I sighed contentedly. Now this was the life I deserved. I had been reborn. Reborn 1 month before the apocalypse. In my previous life, I'd foolishly trusted Ethan's lies, invited wolves into my home, and ultimately got pushed off a building by that scumbag. This time, I vowed to ignore him completely, stockpile enough supplies, and ride out the apocalypse safely with the Johnson family. Blinking under the dim bedroom light, I recognized the familiar ceiling pattern. My phone vibrated on the pillow, another message from Ethan. Without reading it, I blocked all his contacts with practiced efficiency. The screen displayed today's date, June 30th, 2188. Memories flooded back. Last timeline. Lucy had shown up at my door with Ethan when the outbreak began. I'd taken them in, unaware they'd already been sleeping together. 3 mouths quickly devoured our unprepared pantry. Their chaotic escape from downtown had drawn hordes of infected to our neighborhood. Trapped and starving, they'd plotted to sacrifice me as zombie bait. I shuddered recalling their final betrayal. Lucy had simpered against Ethan's shoulder, using that sickly, sweet voice, "Emily, Ethan was always my boyfriend. I let him date you out of pity. Shouldn't you repay our kindness now?" When I spat in her face, Ethan glared murderously. "I only tolerated you because Lucy likes men who attract other women." The sheer absurdity almost made me laugh. His girlfriend wanted proof of his desirability. So he cheated? With me? Before I could retort, Lucy hissed impatiently. That's when his hands shoved me backward into freefall. Now, with 30 days until hell broke loose, survival preparations were critical. But my bank account mocked me, $500. Desperate. I binge-read 5 apocalyptic novels overnight. By dawn, I'd formulated a plan. That was the madness of reckless borrowing. I steeled myself and sold the Johnson family's house back in our hometown. My folks had been peacefully sunbathing in their courtyard when strangers suddenly appeared at their gate with suitcases. Dad scrambled from his lawn chair. "What's going on here?" The lead man sighed. The owner defaulted on massive loans. Sold the property to cover debts. He patted Dad's shoulder. "You're still young enough to rebuild. Teach your kids some financial responsibility." "Yeah?" My parents nearly fainted. They called immediately, demanding answers, knowing they wouldn't believe the truth. I said, "Just come stay with me temporarily. I'm going through something." After hanging up, I maxed out every credit line available until my account showed $2 million. Satisfied, I was gaming when an unknown number flashed on my screen. "Emily, why'd you block me everywhere?" Ethan's voice grated through the phone. "We're done," I snapped, hanging up and blocking both his number and Lucy's. The doorbell rang as I made tea. There stood my parents with luggage. They'd caught the first flight after losing their home. Dad brandished his cane angrily while Mom pleaded, "Let her explain first." "Look." I shoved my phone at them. $2 million cash. I presented my apocalypse prep list. "The world's ending soon. We need supplies now." Dad dialed the psychiatric hospital. "Our only child's gone mad." I grabbed his phone. "Check this news report, new virus causing rapid paralysis." The signs were there all along. If you still don't believe me, just wait until this afternoon when it snows. Emily Johnson, insisted Dad, a member of the Johnson family, pulled up the weather forecast showing July 1st, sunny. July 2nd, sunny. July 3rd, sunny. Under my skeptical gaze, he declared with unwavering certainty, "It's July. Southern July. Snow is impossible." Mom, also from the Johnson family, sighed at my pleading expression. "Let's trust her this once. If there's no hail by afternoon, we'll take her to the hospital together." I remembered vividly, in my previous life, I'd just finished laundry when snowflakes began swirling outside. That blizzard lasted 3 full days. July was supposed to be harvest season, but the freak storm froze nearly all crops mid-growth, triggering sudden food shortages that dominated trending lists for days. At 2 p.m., the sky darkened abruptly. Pedestrians shouted as cotton-like snowflakes cascaded down. "It's snowing. It's really snowing," I yelled, racing to the window. Mom drew back the curtains, revealing a whiteout. Dad paled, likely thinking of our wheat fields. "Believe me now?" I gestured at the winter wonderland. Ultimately, my parents trusted me. We ordered 2 industrial freezers online for food storage. Anticipating mid-apocalypse power outages, we added 10 solar panels and 50 power banks, paying extra for same-day delivery. We waited 3 days for roads to thaw before venturing out. The next morning, Dad and I braved 2 degrees Celsius July frost in a rented van to the wholesale market. We loaded 200 pounds of pork. The aproned butcher raised an eyebrow. "What's with the bulk order?" Recalling apocalypse rule number 1, never trust anyone, I lied smoothly. "I manage school cafeterias. Heard your market offers quality ingredients at fair prices." Her eyes lit up. "School contracts? I'll give you a discount for repeat business." I accepted graciously while warning casually, grain prices might spike soon. "Stock up." We repeated this tactic, 100 pounds beef, 100 pounds lamb, 50 fish, assorted vegetables, 200 pounds rice, until the van groaned. Back home, I panic-ordered 50 cases of instant noodles, 30 chip cartons, 30 military ration boxes, chocolates, sodas, and 100 water jugs. At dinner, Mom, always finding silver linings, noted, "Your animal husbandry degree could prove useful." Soon we were discussing backyard chickens and balcony hydroponics. By dawn, We split tasks. They sourced soil and seeds while I bought 20 chicks and ducklings at the market. The Johnson family survival plan had begun. They headed to the farmer's market to buy various vegetable seeds. Then purchased cooking oils and assorted condiment bottles. Next, they stocked up on hot pot bases and ingredients at the supermarket. By the time we returned home, darkness had fallen and Mrs. Johnson hurriedly prepared dinner. Our family shared a warm meal together. After dinner, we gathered on the couch watching news updates about the escalating apocalyptic developments. Being financially limited, I rented in a remote suburban complex abandoned midway by developers. The sparse population here explained how I'd survived in this very neighborhood during my previous life until Ethan and Lucy pushed me from that rooftop. The clatter of Mom cooking woke me at dawn. My throat sore with impending cold symptoms. This reminded us to stockpile medications. Our family split up to acquire antibiotics, antivirals, and cough suppressants from different pharmacies. Anticipating drastic temperature shifts, we procured 10 quilts and winter coats per person. Though our secluded location offered some security,